Chapter 22-26. So. Countless retreating figures filled the air, and in their shocked eyes, they could only see the fiery red palm shadows filling the sky. Blazing fire heavens net palm. Die. A fiery wind shot out from the palm, and in the sky, space began to crack and distort more and more. Ah! Continuous screams shook the void, and in less than a second, the space covered by the fiery red palm was like a fireball, erupting with a terrifying energy storm that swept out like a hurricane. When the storm had not even spread 1 meter, all the screams stopped abruptly. The hundreds of rogue cultivators guarding the stage were instantly turned into people on fire, and after struggling for less than a second, they collapsed to the ground. Peepa! The sound of explosions rang out incessantly, and the air was filled with a thick energy and a strange smell of meat. So strong. In the distant void, many cultivators didn't dare to move half an inch forward. Is this the power of the King of Heaven's pride? Too strong. Heavenly Wind's #1 person is too terrifying. Their eyes trembled, and they sucked in a breath of cold air. Looking at the energy storm sweeping across the sky, and the space turning into nothingness, they couldn't calm their hearts for a long time. At this time, the injured young cultivator had also rushed over. Looking at the blazing ball of light in the distance, his heart was filled with shock. He couldn't care less about his injured thigh, and he staggered to a stone pillar, his eyes trembling. The fiery light on the stage had already disappeared, and Sui, who was wrapped in a divine light, revealed a pair of murderous eyes. The cold killing intent was like a sharp sword, freeing everyone in an instant. Bodhi Han Nua. Save these female cultivators. Suyi's eyes were solemn, and from his cuffs, more than a dozen bottles of mysterious grade high-level pills were tossed out like beans, falling precisely in front of each of the injured cultivators. The cultivators who were already weak struggled to open their eyes, and hot tears filled their eyes as they thanked Wang Xiaolong profusely. Thank you, King of Heaven's pride. Sui sucked in a deep breath. Today's chaos in the Chaos Realm was caused by him. At this time, Sui swore in his heart that he would purge the Chaos Realm. The Long family still had a soldier in the Chaos Realm, and he would kill them all. The Brahma Dragon's celestial palace had finally pointed their spear at him. Could it be that he was just going to sit and wait for death? Looking around, Suyi's aura expanded once again. The ferocious ancient aura was like a creeping giant beast, and his voice reverberated through the heavens and the earth. All the martial practitioners present, once I resolve the crisis of the Bawang sect, you can come and join the Bawang sect. The doors of the Bawang sect will always be open to like-minded people. The blazing and incomparable voice carried with it an impressive heavenly might that shook the void. Following which the entire Sword Star City erupted with a thunderous sound. Looking at Sui on the stage, Qi Feihong, who was hiding in the mysterious bell, nodded and said, "Misfortune is a blessing in disguise, and a blessing in disguise. Draconis, you think you're smart. You want to stir up chaos in the Chaos Realm and force Sui to jump out himself. I'm afraid you're just making a wedding dress for Sui." And Qi Feihong's words, in the end, might really come true. While they were talking, the martial artists were all carried off the high platform. In the corner, a martial artist with his head lowered seemed to have fainted. Sui immediately rushed to the martial artist's side. "Brother, how are you?" Sui frowned. When this martial artist raised his head, countless waves instantly surged in Suyi's heart. This martial artist was none other than Sun Hao, who had joined him after the Holy Mountain Academy. "Sun Hao, why are you here?" Sui blurted out, and without any explanation, he poured in a few strands of water attribute Yuan Qi. When the Yuan Qi entered his body, his meridians were abnormally blocked, causing Suyi's heart to quickly sink. His internal organs were like an empty shell. Most of his meridians were broken, and his dantian was damaged. The hatred in the heart of the person who did this was obvious. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Su-yi quietly healed Sun Hao's injuries, and finally reversed Sun Hao's consciousness. Looking at the familiar face, Sun Hao's paper-white face squeezed out a weak smile, and he instantly spat out a large mouthful of blood, saying, "Boss Su, I didn't say anything. No matter how Hong Qianlong forced me, I didn't say anything." Su-yi's nose turned sour, and he nodded heavily. He fed a small mouthful of spiritual liquid to Sun Hao's mouth and coldly said, "How did they catch you?" Sun Hao's head kept sinking like rice. His palm pressed against the ground, and he weakly said, "Shadow Hall disciples must travel outside for 2 years. My performance was good, and in less than a year and a half, I was summoned back by Lord Wu Chang." It turned out that this was Sun Hao's first time carrying out a mission in the Chaos Realm. It just so happened that he ran into Hong Qianlong's momentum, which was why he fell for it. After drinking the spiritual liquid, Sun Hao's injuries were temporarily suppressed, and he was taken away by Bodhi Immortal. Su-yi instructed, "He and I have a close relationship, help me take care of him." Bodhi Immortal was a plant-type brute demon beast, and had a natural talent in healing. Hearing this, he nodded. And at this time, above the sky, a fierce voice like a wild dragon resounded through the clouds, aiming at Su-yi's position. Raising his eyes, Su-yi didn't need to think to know who had come. "There was a path to heaven, but you didn't take it, and there was no door to hell, but you came to hell." With a light step, a powerful heaven's might that blotted out the sky and covered the earth rolled out. Under the fluttering of his green robe, Su-yi's divine light shone even brighter, as if a god had descended, looking up at the few figures above the sky. Hong Qianlong, who had not been seen for a long time, was dressed in black, and his eyes were evil. He looked at Su-yi as if he had seen his prey, and he shouted, "Su-yi, you destroyed my Big Dipper sect and killed Jian Qiu'er. Today, I can finally avenge myself." Amidst his maniacal laughter, boundless waves spread across the sky, and a huge spatial whirlpool instantly condensed beside Hong Qianlong, as if everything was going to be engulfed by this suction force. "Second level of Origin Ancestor Realm," Su-yi muttered to himself. With Hong Qianlong's situation, how could he rise from the 8th or 9th level of the Origin Emperor Realm to the Origin Ancestor Realm? With a sneer, Su-yi crossed his arms. "Since Hong Qianlong couldn't escape," he sneered, "is the Long family's stinky feet so easy to lick?" Immediately, Hong Qianlong and the Big Dipper sect's experts behind him looked serious, and their sinister expressions only made it more obvious. They said resentfully, "Kid, are you afraid? Are you spouting nonsense here?" Looking at Su-yi, who was leisurely in the sky, Hong Qianlong's gaze was almost crazy. Suddenly, a vicious and terrifying palm print quietly formed in front of him. "A dog will always be a dog. Even if it joins the sect, it can't become a human." Su-yi sneered, and then no longer held back, the surging flame aura around him instantly resounding through the sky. With a sound wave in the sky, Su-yi appeared in front of Hong Qianlong like a phantom. With a light step, he shot murderous intent at Hong Qianlong. Chapter 22-27. With regards to Su-yi's arrogance, Hong Qianlong would never have thought that the former had already reached the 7th level of the Origin Ancestor stage. Suddenly, the black light in Hong Qianlong's palm soared into the sky. His gaze instantly turned ferocious as he shouted loudly, "Go to hell! I'm going to kill you!" With a roar, the terrifying whirlpool shook crazily like a tentacle. Suddenly, a huge black ball of light accompanied by a vast and mighty aura enveloped Su-yi like a thunderbolt as it galloped forward. Boom! With a loud explosion, the violent energy accompanied by Hong Qianlong's terrifying rage instantly enveloped Su-yi. Whoosh! Suddenly, a monstrous black energy came out from the whirlpool in front of Hong Qianlong. Behind Hong Qianlong, the 3 Heavenly Dipper sect's powerhouses shouted one after another. At that moment the 3 of them were in one body. The Origin Ancestor and Origin Ancestor's energy directly shattered the void, as if they were going to completely destroy and devour Su-yi. As the black energy rippled in the space, Hong Qianlong stood above the space with an evil smile on his face. He looked around and shouted loudly, "What are you going to use to fight me? Su-yi, today is the day you die." The extremely terrifying energy caused countless living beings in Sword Star City to feel agitated in the depths of their souls. They stared blankly at Hong Qianlong in the sky with the same thought in their minds. How did Hong Qianlong suddenly become so strong? Below, even Ji Hanhua, who was dressing the female martial artists and treating their injuries, suddenly narrowed her eyes. She knelt on one knee as her gaze trembled violently. As her gaze followed Hong Qianlong, her heart was also torn apart. Her sorrowful thoughts turned into waves of ripples and drifted away. Ji Hanhua's tears flowed like a fountain as she said softly, "Su-yi, be careful." At that moment, Bodhi Celestial Moon's eyes narrowed as the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He casually glanced at the sky and patted Ji Hanhua's shoulder. "Miss Ji, don't worry. Master's power is beyond your imagination." After speaking, Bodhi Celestial continued to treat Sun Hao as if there was no one else present. Only Bodhi Celestial knew that Su-yi was the reincarnation of a demon emperor and even had the Golden Dragon Phoenix bloodline to protect him. He was at the 7th level of the Origin Ancestor realm and could easily crush those of the same level. What was there to worry about? As soon as he finished speaking, under countless shocked gazes, a lazy but murderous voice came from the surging black energy. "So much for licking your stinky feet. How pathetic. Can you fight? Let me teach you." "What?" Hong Qianlong's eyes bulged as he shouted loudly. At that moment, the 3 people from the Heavenly Dipper sect, including Hong Qianlong, narrowed their eyes at the same time. Within the black ball of energy, an ancient aura spread throughout the world. The crisp and clear cry of a phoenix was deafening, causing one's eardrums to hurt. Immediately afterward, a dazzling fiery red light spread throughout the world, emitting a terrifying temperature that even souls couldn't withstand. The powerful and overbearing Emperor Sparrow's flame seeped out from the black light. A terrifying aura quietly spread out. "What's going on?" Hong Qianlong turned pale with fright. Hong Qianlong's hands felt as if they were burnt. However, the arrow had already been shot out, so there was no reason for him to take it back. The Emperor Sparrow's huge body expanded once again. In the dazzling light, the divine bird spread its wings. The divine light burst forth with dazzling light, and the sparkling fire rushed toward Hong Qianlong like a sharp sword. In an instant, the entire space in front of Hong Qianlong started to sizzle. Hong Qianlong hurriedly retracted his palm power, ignoring the fishy taste in his meridians, and retreated as if he had been electrocuted. Rumble! Under the Emperor Sparrow's flame, an ancient aura surged. Along with the fire sword, the blazing energy instantly burned the 2 elites behind Hong Qianlong into nothingness. Between the heavens and the earth, the divine light glistened like divine chains intertwining with each other. "The King of Sky Prides is fine. This aura, is it from a peerless elite? Oh my God! Is that the King of Sky Pride's origin energy manifestation? Is that the divine beast Phoenix? The King of Sky Prides is invincible. I want to go to the Bawang sect. I want to be a disciple of the Bawang sect." Looking at the miraculous figure of Su-yi, every corner of the entire Sword Star City was trembling and boiling. The crowd surged, and the sound waves reverberated throughout the universe. At that moment, everyone's anger erupted from the raging flames that burned everything in the world. No matter how much evil they had done in the past, compared to Hong Qianlong and the others, they were already considered good people. Everyone was angered, and the heavens and the earth would slaughter them. In the sky, Hong Qianlong, who had retreated a few hundred meters along the ripples in the space, was stunned. He looked at Su-yi, who was in the divine light, and said in shock, "You! How did you break through to the origin ancestor stage? Hong Qianlong, who had retreated, was shocked. His deep, vicious eyes were trembling non-stop. He was already at the second level of the origin ancestor stage, but he couldn't see which level of the origin ancestor stage Su Yi was at. Instantly, Hong Qianlong glanced at the chest of the white bones, and his heart was filled with shock. On the opposite side, the vast golden-red raging flames slowly converged, and heavens might circled the heavens and the earth. Su Yi looked at Hong Qianlong from afar. His killing intent was as deep as the abyss, and his entire body emitted an incomparably sorrowful and cold aura. He said, "Now it's time for you to pay the price for your evil deeds. Kill him. Kill Hong Qianlong. Annihilate the entire Tiangang sect. Destroy him. King of geniuses, avenge the innocent martial artists who died in the Chaos region. Burn him to death, Hong Qianlong. This bastard is worse than a pig or a dog." Insults and curses were incessant. The martial artists and citizens of Sword Star City could no longer contain the raging flames in their hearts, and they cursed loudly. Ha 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 ha! Hong Qianlong glanced sideways at the raging flames around him. With a wave of his long robe, an invisible, terrifying energy spread out, and a blood-red elixir was swallowed by Hong Qianlong. Suddenly, the black energy in the air gathered again, and the wound on his chest healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. "I never thought that the 6 violent demonic elixir that my lord gave me would come in handy so quickly. Su Yi, you're still too inexperienced. Compared to me, you're far from enough." Hong Qianlong stared coldly at Su Yi. As soon as he finished speaking, Hong Qianlong took off his long robe. Amidst the raging aura, a dark talisman pattern lingered around his body. Suddenly, Hong Qianlong's aura skyrocketed, and a cold, black energy spread across the sky. Hong Qianlong's aura skyrocketed again by 5 levels, and he quickly reached the 7th level of Origin Ancestor stage. The Iron Soulfish's voice rang out from the entrance of Su Yi's body. The Iron Soulfish said, "Why is there a 6 violent demonic elixir here?" Subsequently, Su Yi lifted his head slightly, and a cold smile appeared on his face. Although Hong Qianlong's strength had skyrocketed, he had overdraft his Origin Ancestor stage martial artist's origin energy. In other words, Hong Qianlong was fighting with his life on the line. Looking at Hong Qianlong's evil energy and dark talisman pattern, Su Yi's eyes showed no fear at all. Su Yi was just curious. The elixir that the Long family had given Hong Qianlong this time was really strange. The Long family possessed the Golden Dragon bloodline, and they were considered a divine beast clan. How could they have such a vicious and evil elixir? Chapter 22-28. In the sky, Hong Qianlong's pitch-black figure quickly ascended into the sky. He looked down at Su Yi and said loudly, "Su Yi, do you dare to fight outside with me?" After he finished speaking, an undetectable light flashed in Hong Qianlong's sinister eyes. His entire body surged with black light, dark and gloomy. "Su Yi, don't go!" Ji Hanua appeared in the sky, and everyone's eyes trembled. "King of geniuses, don't go! Hong Qianlong, this bastard, is trying to trick you!" The injured martial artist's voice rose as he shouted at Su Yi. Suddenly, all the spectating martial artists from Sword Star City felt their hearts in their mouth. It was obvious that Hong Qianlong was no match for Su Yi. However, Hong Qianlong's strength had suddenly skyrocketed, but he did not continue to fight. Anyone with a discerning eye knew that Hong Qianlong was implying something. Sect leader Su, just kill Hong Qianlong. Don't fall for his trick. If you want to fight, fight here. Hong Qianlong, are you shameless? You can't beat the King of Geniuses. Are you going to ask for help? That bastard from the Big Dipper sect has been beaten by the King of Geniuses again. In the sky, curses swept across like a hurricane. The crowd was furious, and the crowd surged. Presumptuous! All of you, shut up. Hong Qianlong waved his long robe, and a cold aura suddenly erupted from his eyes. The aura of a 7th-level origin ancestor was cold and terrifying. Hong Qianlong was furious in the face of the criticism and insults from Sword Star City. If Su Yi was not here, these people would have died under his hands. Hong Qianlong's eyes were ferocious as he glared fiercely at the spectators from Sword Star City. He immediately flashed to the top of the city wall and shouted loudly, "Su Yi, you little brat, if you don't dare to fight with me outside the city, admit defeat as soon as possible." Upon hearing this, killing intent surged in Su Yi's heart as he stood upright in the clouds. The archaic aura around him also spread out. At this moment, Qi Feihong's voice was heard. "This brat is up to no good. It must be a trap. We're not afraid of fighting, but you should think about it yourself." Qi Feihong frowned, but he also looked at the horizon without the slightest care. Even if Hong Qianlong had 100 different methods, he still wouldn't be a match for Su Yi. A ripple flashed across Su Yi's eyes as he pondered. Hong Qianlong had suddenly proposed to fight outside, so he definitely had a backup plan. Su Yi wanted to find out who else was behind Hong Qianlong. He wanted to know who else the Long family had recruited from the Chaos region. Wasn't Hong Qianlong just going to look for help? Wasn't he just certain that he wouldn't dare to go? Go. How could he not go? In this battle, Su Yi wanted to establish his might in the Chaos region. He wanted to cleanse the Chaos region and slap Draconis in the face. Suddenly, Su Yi's eyes lit up and he sneered. "Why wouldn't I dare? Could it be that a beast could beat a human? Don't forget, if I can kill you once, I can kill you a second time. You want to rely on external forces to defeat me? Dream on." The ferocious heavens might rolled over as Su Yi's figure pounced forward. The flame shadow behind him rose again and charged toward Hong Qianlong. Phoenix cries shook the sky as the blazing energy dissipated in front of everyone's eyes. The King of Geniuses finally followed him. The injured young martial artist stomped his foot angrily, but this time, most people didn't follow. Sigh. The King of Geniuses is still young after all. What are you talking about? The King of Geniuses is bold because of his skills. Yes. If the King of Geniuses can return safely, I will follow him for the rest of my life. All kinds of voices resounded through the sky as they discussed Su Yi's back view. Bodhi Celestial looked at Su Yi's back view and immediately released a ferocious soul suppression. It was accompanied by rolling sound waves that spread across the sky. "Everyone, wait for orders. My master will be back soon. The might of the Bawang sect, please wait and see," Bodhi Celestial said. The demon domain realm Bodhi Celestial's face was indifferent and cold. As soon as his voice fell, he continued to heal everyone. The great majesty in his every action quickly conquered everyone present. At this moment, everyone present looked in the direction that Su Yi had left in, their eyes filled with anticipation. No matter what the result was, in this battle of Sword Star City, Su Yi had already won. He had won completely. Boom. Boom. Outside the city, high up in the sky, 2 terrifying Origin Chi light balls were chasing after him. Behind him, killing intent surged in Su Yi's eyes. The Emperor Sparrow divine flame that blotted out the sky and covered the earth spread between heaven and earth like a tornado, covering the sky and the sun. Damn it, how can this bastard be so fast? Hong Qianlong, who was in front, became more and more anxious. He was clearly in the lead but being followed by Su Yi at a steady pace. The pressure in his heart made him very frightened. Bam! Then, Hong Qianlong flew out with a black light. The monstrous aura was instantly dissolved by Su Yi's flames behind him. Continuous sonic booms exploded in the sky. Bam! 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 The terrifying energy set off endless ripples in the space. Hong Qianlong took the opportunity to use the shock wave to rush forward again. In fact, what Hong Qianlong did not know was that if Su Yi wanted to chase, He could catch up at any time. How could Hong Qianlong compare to Su Yi, who had reached the large success stage of Fuyao 100 transformation steps? However, Su Yi did not want to. If he caught up with him, Su Yi would not know the power behind him. Is that all you've got? You're not even good enough to be a holiday rat. Su Yi's voice was calm but carried supreme heavenly might. It was like a heavy hammer hitting Hong Qianlong's mind. Suddenly, Hong Qianlong's black body staggered forward. His astonished eyes once again showed some shock. Hong Qianlong screamed in his heart. Is Su Yi an osprey? Once again, Hong Qianlong gritted his teeth and rushed toward the mountains in the distance. The terrifying black energy swallowed everything and his aura became stronger again. In less than a quarter of an hour, the two of them finally arrived at a valley. If you don't show yourself now, when are you waiting? Hong Qianlong stood in the middle of the valley and formed a mysterious hand seal. Suddenly, the strange black energy shrouded the sky again. The light was dark and dazzling. Stopping his footsteps, Su Yi also secretly circulated the supreme art of origin. The phantom of the divine bird behind him once again expanded, like a divine bird descending from the heavens, looking at the changes in the sky that could happen at any time. Rumble! Suddenly, a distorted space tunnel formed above Hong Qianlong's head. Following Hong Qianlong's roar, a black mass of people rushed out from it. The void shattered instantly and an extremely domineering aura spread out. Endless vitality light seemed to want to destroy everything in the mountain range. Su Yi, we finally meet again. There was no reason for the fluctuations in the sky. The sky was already covered with dark clouds. At this time, thousands of martial artists appeared. Su Yi followed the source of the sound and looked in the direction of the sound. The corners of his mouth curled up. He put his hands on his waist and said, "Oh my! I was wondering who it was. Isn't this Bai Zun, Mr. Bai Old Dog? When did you get together with Hong Qianlong?" Chapter 22-29. In the sky, Hong Qianlong had already arrived beside Bai Zun and stood side by side with him. As the great elder of the Blood Sun sect, one of the top 3 forces in the Chaos Zone, it was ridiculous that he was hanging around with a stray dog. Bai Zun, who was wearing a blood-red robe with broken patterns, blinked his old eyes. His withered face exuded a ruthless aura as he said faintly, "You're still as sharp-tongued as ever, kid. Today will be the day you die." As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Zun's 2 fingerprints pierced through the sky. A terrifying aura that made one feel despair enveloped his body. A strange black energy that was similar to Hong Qianlong's surged out from his sleeves. Second level of the Origin Domain realm. Qi Feihong, who was inside the Chaos Zone, sniffled and stretched. He said coldly, "These fellows in the Chaos Zone have been working behind closed doors all day. Draconis has given them some benefits and they've become so arrogant. They can't achieve anything great." After hearing Qi Feihong's words, Su Yi's gaze turned slightly solemn. Although Luo Yunyang was unforgiving with his words, he still had to think twice when he saw that more than half of the Origin Emperors and over 100 Origin Ancestor powerhouses were in the sky. Draconis, that bastard. He's really putting in a lot of effort to create chaos in the Chaos Zone. After taking a deep breath, Su Yi raised his eyebrows. Suddenly, his arms trembled and 2 ancient energies surged into the sky. Wherever they passed, the space rippled like waves and rapidly shook. Su Yi calculated his combat strength. If these people really fought, Su Yi would not be afraid. However, Su Yi's great void spirit ocean would be exhausted again. Use the chaotic Yuan Bell? Su Yi shook his head. There was no need to use a sledgehammer to kill a chicken. At this moment, Su Yi gradually calmed down. He was extremely grateful to Duanmu Qingtian. The special training in the 3 Crow region was useful. When he returned to the Sky Barbarian realm, he was not afraid of being surrounded by so many people. In other words, How strong were the people outside the sky barbarian realm? Bang! With a flash of light, Sui arrived in front of Baizun in a flash. Sui tilted his head and looked at Baizun. His eyes flashed with a cold light as he said coldly, "You have been looking for me since the Alliance Conference. I haven't settled this debt with you yet. Why are you looking for me?" Immediately, Baizun's gaze changed slightly as shock flashed in his eyes when he saw Sui's 7th-level Origin Ancestor stage aura. Sui had left the Chaos region for such a long time. "I never imagined that you would actually be at the 7th level of the Origin Ancestor stage. I should have killed you all those years ago." Baizun's voice was filled with envy. Sui's insane speed of improvement made Baizun, the half-buried old man, feel ashamed of his inferiority. "Cut the crap. Kill him. All of Sui's secrets are yours. As long as you give me his head." Hong Qianlong once again shot out a terrifying black halo. Instantly, the black energy spread wildly and a thunderous energy explosion resounded in the sky. Sui sneered and stretched lazily. He nodded at Hong Qianlong and said, "Remember this? You were the one who said you only wanted his head." Instantly, Hong Qianlong was slightly shocked. Baizun, who was standing beside him, shouted, "Everyone, kill this brat. Kill." Boom! An earth-shattering explosion resounded in the sky. Above the void, thousands of Origin Chi radiances suddenly shone brightly. The terrifying energy that was mixed with monstrous killing intent instantly enveloped Sui. "Kill this brat." Hong Qianlong and Baizun looked at each other and laughed hysterically at the same time. Both of them did not believe that Sui was so capable that he could withstand the attack of thousands of people. Looking at the sky, the ferocious radiances set off ripples in the air. The pressure that shot into the sky made everyone unable to resist it. Their hearts palpitated and their auras collapsed. Even their souls trembled. Bang! 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 When the thousands of Origin Chi radiances converged at one point, the terrifying radiance instantly turned white. The vast aura ruthlessly tore the ripples in the sky into half. Everything within a radius of 10,000 feet was affected. Mountains shattered and exploded one after another, and rivers were displaced. In the sky, the scorching heat caused heavy rain to fall. The rain was huge and the aura was terrifying. "Sui is finally dead." Baizun laughed hysterically. His eyes trembled as he looked at the terrifying attack of thousands of people. At the very least, Baizun knew that he would not be able to fight back if 1,000 people were to attack him. "No. I'm going to stab him." Hong Qianlong's killing intent erupted like a flash flood. Once again, the black energy radiance spread out and aimed at Sui. It was heading toward the huge shockwave. "Die, Sui!" Hong Qianlong shouted. The black radiance that contained the ultimate energy of Hong Qianlong's 7th-level ancestor stage cultivation seemed to be able to destroy the 9 heavens. In the next second, all of the powerhouses felt the true terror. Baizun's eyes were trembling. Hong Qianlong, who was charging toward Baizun, rebounded rapidly as though he was hit hard. He retreated a few thousand meters. Buzz buzz. In less than a blink of an eye, thousands of dazzling energy radiances dispersed. It was as though they had hit a terrifying solid body. A thunderous explosion swept out along with a terrifying primordial aura. The deafening sound of metal could destroy one's soul. In the vast void, thousands of radiances that were reflected hit the bodies of the people who had released the energy. The radiances tore their bodies apart. The martial artists who were protected by Origin Chi were torn apart like leaves. As far as the eyes could see, blood rained down from the sky and covered the mountains and rivers. Many people did not even have time to react to what was going on before their heads were separated from their bodies by 5 horses. Instantly, the space exploded like a volcanic eruption. Thousands of bodies were torn apart. The severed limbs were like decorations on the mountains. A rain of blood drifted down like scarlet-red divine water that descended from the 9 heavens, and every single drop of blood revealed a mysterious and strange aura. The scene before his eyes was too terrifying. Even though Baizun was far away, he could not understand what was happening. Thousands of martial artists were killed in an instant. How did Su-Yi unleash such a terrifying attack? Would he be able to do it if he was at the second level of the origin domain stage? The boundless blood-red raindrops were still drifting down. The entire sky was dyed red. The blood-red sun could no longer describe the scene before his eyes. Shrill screams filled the wilderness. The terrifying sound of flesh being torn apart shook the mountains and rivers. This was the world of the god of slaughter. This was the heaven of the evil spirits. Baizun wiped his blood-stained face through the veil of blood rain. His eyes were filled with astonishment. All Baizun could see was that Su-Yi was enveloped by a sacred and domineering giant bell. Light runes filled the air. Under the sacred light, Su-Yi's eyes were cold and solemn. He was looking at Baizun as though he was the god of death. That is, Baizun was in disbelief. The aura of a second-level origin domain stage was nowhere to be seen. Chapter 2230. Baizun stood in the air and stared at the primordial chaos ancient bell in fear. Its aura seemed to be able to purify thousands of living beings. At this moment, Baizun was completely terrified. His trembling old legs were like pendulums, and he did not dare to move at all. Was this Su-Yi's trump card? Hiss, hiss. The violent wind and bloody rain were still pouring down from the sky. The roaring sound of wind and thunder exploded in the distance. The moment the mysterious white electric arc flashed, Su-Yi appeared in front of Baizun like a phantom. He looked down at Baizun and saw with his own eyes that the giant bell around Su-Yi seemed to be emitting a faint demonic light. On the bell, there were even the cries of divine beasts in the sky. It was soul-stirring. Baizun knelt down completely. You can feel fear too. You, who have no conscience, also have scruples. Su-Yi's eyes narrowed slightly. What Baizun did not know was that Su-Yi did not want to activate the primordial chaos ancient bell so quickly. However, Baizun's desire to kill him was too strong. With a wave of his hand, he could summon the might of 1,000 people. Since he wanted to kill, he would do it in an earth-shattering manner. Since he wanted to resist, he would resist until no one could stop him. When the earth-shattering light came crushing down, Su-Yi activated the devastating heavenly star in the ancient bell. Su-Yi's primordial origin supreme technique, which seemed to be able to destroy the world, rippled out a fierce energy radiance around him. Su-Yi's first move was to destroy all living beings. He wanted to kill as if the end of the world had arrived. At this moment, Baizun was as insignificant as an ant under Su-Yi's feet, trembling uncontrollably. In the midst of the battle, Su-Yi's aura did not diminish. The light of judgment fell on Baizun. He said coldly, "Who else is surrounding the Bawang sect? Speak." When the last word fell, the sacred ripples spread out and engulfed Baizun's body. Baizun did not understand how Su-Yi's cultivation aura could be so terrifying. It did not make sense for him to crush him. And 9 Stars Valley, and Chunyao, they are now surrounding the Bawang sect. Sneering, Su-Yi curled the corner of his mouth and kicked Baizun's head, saying coldly, "Where's the Green Cloud Palace? The Chaos Realm is in such a mess. Are they, the number 1 power, going to sit and wait for death?" Deng deng. After 2 more kicks, Baizun heard the sound of bones breaking again. Baizun's body smashed through a large area of space, and he felt as if the paragon of mountains was collapsing on him. He said with great difficulty, "If I tell you everything, will you let me go?" "Of course, if what you say is valuable." Su-Yi's body was surrounded by rolling holy light. The vast ocean of light blasted onto Baizun. At this time, Hong Qianlong had already stood up in the distance. He didn't know what had happened, but when he saw Bai Zun being stepped on by Sui, he already had the thought of running away. Whoosh! Hong Qianlung's eyes trembled as he scrambled to get away, as if he was running for his life. I'll talk. Bai Zun couldn't take it anymore. Suyi's power wasn't something he could resist. He slapped the ground and said, "The Green Cloud Palace is also surrounded. We have several powers. My sect master is surrounding the Green Cloud Palace, Chen Yao is surrounding the Bawang sect, and the rest of us are responsible for creating chaos in the Chaos Realm." As soon as he finished speaking, Bai Zun felt as if his body was about to be destroyed. He couldn't help but spit out blood as he shouted, "Can you let me go now? I was wrong. I'm an old dog. Please don't kill me." Hearing this, Su Yi's feet still shone with boundless holy light as he stomped on Bai Zun's chest. He said coldly, "You seem to have forgotten that there's one more power that you haven't mentioned, right?" "I don't know what you're talking about." Bai Zun's eyes widened, and his blood-red eyes were filled with infinite fear. Bai Zun looked at Su Yi from the corner of his eyes, as if he was begging Su Yi to stop talking. I don't know anything." Bai Zun, who was speaking, was instantly agitated. Compared to death, talking about this matter was more terrifying. "If that's the case, then you can go to hell," Sui said coldly. Sui didn't plan to get anything out of Bai Zun. Suddenly, a thunderous energy surged out. Divine light flashed, and Bai Zun's body turned into a rain of blood in a turbulent wave. Bang! The sound of the powerful energy colliding resounded through the sky and tore a crack in the space. The destructive power of Bai Zun's explosion spread throughout the entire space. In the next second, Su Yi dashed toward Hong Qianlong, who was trying to escape. Hong Qianlong sped up when he heard the terrifying sound of Bai Zun's explosion behind him. At that moment, he was extremely regretful that he had brought Su Yi to this place. Wasn't this the same as walking toward death? "Are you in a hurry to go home?" Su Yi smiled faintly. Light flashed in his eyes, and a wild and ancient aura filled the void again. Whoosh! Whoosh! Hong Qianlong, who was moving at high speed, felt as if he was in the ancient world of the gods. Above his head was a blood-red sky, and in front of him was a barren land. There seemed to be mountains of white bones and rivers of blood in front of him. Su Yi's voice followed his figure, sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right. Hong Qianlong, whose heart and soul had been destroyed, was on the verge of collapse. The strange and mysterious black energy suddenly disappeared, and he looked around in fear. When Hong Qianlong stopped abruptly, his eyes were filled with terror. The person who blocked his way was none other than Su Yi, who was even more terrifying than the gods and demons. In the lonely and bloody sky, the 9 heavens shook in an instant. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, and a vast and mighty aura covered the entire heaven and earth in an instant. "Repent for the mistakes you've made for all eternity." Between heaven and earth, 9 terrifying divine flames burst out from the depths of the mountains and soared into the sky. Like a blazing sun, they covered the mountains with thousands of corpses. A low shout came from Su Yi's mouth, and a huge fire instantly formed in a radius of thousands of li, enveloping everything. Like a world-destroying divine flame that judged heaven and earth, it suddenly exploded, and all the filth and stench were purified and dissolved at this moment. The terrifying flame energy was like a huge dragon soaring into the sky, distorting the entire space. In an instant, the fiery red light shone through the ages, and time and space also froze. Flames that reached the heavens, the wrath of the gods. Within Sword Star City, it had only been an hour since Su Yi left. The smell of blood that floated from the mountains shocked everyone present. Continuous sonic booms surged with destructive energy and pressure, causing people's souls to tremble. When Bodhi Immortal and Ji Hanua healed the last martial artist, Ji Hanua stood up and looked at the dazzling 100,000 flames in the distance, and his suppressed heartbeat also stopped. Is that Su Yi's wrath? Ji Hanua's gaze congealed. Even from so far away, Ji Hanua could feel his heart palpitating from the surging destructive aura. In an instant, Ji Hanua's heart calmed down. She knew that she was already very far away from this young man. Compared to love, Ji Hanua found something more important, and that was strength. Chapter 2231. Oh my God, it looks like a fierce battle is going on over there. Will the King of Geniuses defeat Hong Qianlong and still have reinforcements? In the future, there should only be one Bawang sect in the Chaos region. Is the Chaos region going to change its name? All the martial artists who were watching felt their souls tremble once again. They looked at the mountain-like energy in the sky and discussed softly. They looked excitedly at the blood-red sky outside the city. Everyone was so excited that their faces turned red. At this moment, the dazzling light returned to everyone's sight. Everyone held their breath. Was that light Su Yi? The King of Geniuses is back. The King of Geniuses is back. The injured martial artist was the first to shout. He pointed at the fiery red light in the sky excitedly. Suddenly, everyone's eyes lit up. They had goosebumps all over their bodies. In Sword Star City, there was a hubbub of voices again. It was as if they were welcoming the return of their hero. The shouts resounded like a tsunami, shaking the heavens. Every brick in Sword Star City shook slightly with the sound wave. The crowd was excited and there was a sea of people. Su Yi's return meant that Sword Star City was liberated. Everyone was liberated. They had broken free from Hong Qianlong's control. This was the freedom of martial arts. When Su Yi stood in front of Ji Hanua like a god, everyone stared at the black figure in Su Yi's hand. They held their breaths and did not dare to say a word. This is? Ji Hanua could not believe it, but she still tried to go closer to take a look. Su Yi looked serious. He looked at the charred Hong Qianlong and said softly, I promised you that I would take revenge. I have already released the anger of sect leader Ji and Xianjian sect. This is the last sword. Come. Suddenly, Ji Hanua's weak eyes flashed with a trace of sparkling and translucent tears. The evil cultivators were the culprit. Hong Qianlong was the real culprit. Ji Hanua stared at the pitch-black Hong Qianlong, who was emitting a foul stench with a burning gaze. A sharp sword had appeared in his hand at some point in time. She wrapped the tip of the sword with her vital energy. The sword chi made Hong Qianlong, who was groaning in pain, tremble slightly. When he opened his eyes, his mouth, a white sword cut through the air and pierced into Hong Qianlong's heart after a slight flash. Puff. Blood. Ji Hanua translation. The black energy Hanua escaped the stage. With a muffled groan, Hong Qianlong slumped onto the high platform. The sect leader, the sect, and chaos sect leader, the sect, was destroyed. Woo. Ji Hanua's translation after Ji Hanua and Hanu. Ji Hanua's tense heartstrings finally relaxed at this moment. Her tears turned into jade beads and sprinkled down. In Su Yi's arms, Ji Hanua was like a flower that had been destroyed. She had no one to rely on. She looked even more miserable in the wind and rain. The onlookers naturally knew who Ji Hanua was. Their eyes were full of helplessness and sighs. With Hong Qianlong's death, there was finally someone to clean up the mess in the Chaos sect. From now on, the Chaos sect would completely change. Master, what should we do next? Bodhi Immortal rolled up her sleeves and came to Su Yi's side. She gently comforted the crying Ji Hanua. Su Yi raised his eyes and looked at the rogue cultivators in the sky. He roared, Hong Qianlong is dead. 9-Star Valley and Blood Sun sect are the main culprits in the Chaos sect. Wait for me to purge them. If you are interested, you can join my Bawang sect. As for the mastermind behind the scenes, the Long clan, Su Yi naturally would not mention it. There was no benefit in mentioning the Long clan. Firstly, it would weaken people's hearts. Secondly, although this group of rogue cultivators was not a small force, compared to the Long clan, it was still a drop in the bucket. Suddenly, a large number of rogue cultivators' eyes lit up. They looked at each other and smiled as if they had heard great news. At this moment, in their hearts, Su-yi was like a god. The Bawang sect was very likely to become the #1 force in the Chaos sect. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them. Immediately, hundreds of injured rogue cultivators knelt on one knee. They placed their palms on their hearts and saluted Su-yi. "We are blessed by the King of Heaven's pride. We will serve the Bawang sect forever. We will unite all rogue cultivators in the Chaos sect and worship sect leader Su as the master of the Chaos sect. The King of Heaven's pride is invincible. The Overlord is invincible." In the sky and on the ground, the sound waves roared. Su-yi's gaze swept across the faces of every determined expert. He nodded slightly. Looking back at the raging fire outside Sword Star City, a murderous intent suddenly condensed between Su-yi's brows. A fierce fluctuation spread out from his body. Su-yi said slowly and coldly, "Draconis, Chunyao, Blood Sun sect, I will make you pay the price you deserve." The Bawang sect was facing a difficult situation both internally and externally. Outside, the 9 Stars Valley was besieging the Bawang sect. The Bawang sect was still able to use the 10,000 demon refining formation to resist. But internally there would be an end to it. The 10,000 demon refining formation consumed a large number of vitality stones. The Bawang sect had already persevered in such a difficult situation for a full month. At this moment, in the meeting hall of the Bawang sect, intense voices could be heard. "This old man is ashamed to face the sect master." Chun Yao actually made a comeback. "As an old friend of the 9 Stars Valley, I can only sit here and watch the two sects fight. I, Tang Wang, am ashamed to be a member of the Bawang sect." Tang Wang's tears flowed down. He smashed the table and chair with a palm. Looking up at the dazzling phoenix soared on the roof, Tang Wang felt an indescribable sense of guilt. At this moment, in the meeting hall, Merciless West, Impermanence Fairy, Lei Yunhe, Huang Jian, Wang Zhenquan, Nangong Ningyue, the Green Emperor, Yin Ming, Yang Ming, Dragon Rhinoceros Emperor, Mystic Turtle Emperor, Purple Elephant Emperor, Devouring Spirit Emperor, and Shuizhong, the 3 great demons of the Bawang sect, had all returned. Previously, according to the Green Emperor's plan, the Bawang sect was divided into the Overlord Legion and the Sky Demon Legion. The Overlord Martial Sect's core was now sent to the Demon Subduing Sect, the Soul Sect's core was left in the Imperial Palace, and the Sky Demon Legion's core was in the Demon Subduing Sect, cultivating and waiting for orders. Hearing Tang Wang's bitter and hateful cries, Merciless West frowned. She walked down from her seat and said to Tang Wang, "Elder Tang, the past has nothing to do with you anymore. Chun Yao has done all kinds of evil, why should you feel guilty?" Hearing this, the Beast Emperors and the upper management of the Bawang sect all agreed. Immediately, Impermanence Fairy glanced at the Green Emperor and said with praise, "Elder Tang, you don't need to blame yourself. Fortunately, the Green Emperor has already sent our Bawang sect's core members to various places. Now, relying on the 10,000 demons refining God Array and the newly acquired Bawang sect's strength, it's already not easy to hold on until now." Hearing this, Elder Tang Wang's solemn face flashed with slight relief. His gaze fell on Nangong Ningyue and said, "Ningyue, with the current resources of the Bawang sect, how long can it last?" "At most 2 days." Nangong Ningyue sighed. Chapter 2232. Hearing this, everyone's eyes were solemn and their faces were cold. Merciless West looked around, waved his hand, and said coldly, "The space-time transportation channel that the Green Emperor built last time is still there. If we take advantage of the last 2 days to transfer the Bawang sect, it's still not too late." After saying this, Merciless West looked at Nangong Ningyue and Huang Jian. His voice was cold as he said, "However, the Bawang sect that we've built will be destroyed by these bastards." Now, the Bawang sect was besieged both internally and externally. External enemies could attack at any time. Once the internal 10,000 demon refining deity array collapsed, the entire Bawang sect would automatically disintegrate. This was the last resort, but it was also the most effective method in an urgent situation. Sir Consecrator, if Ningyue can build one Bawang sect, I can also build a second one. Nangong Ningyue lowered her head slightly, and her eyes were firm and resolute. The entire conference hall was suddenly filled with the smell of blood and death. Everyone looked at the Bawang sect that they had painstakingly built. No one wanted to easily give up this hard-earned property. "Damn it, if we can't do it, we'll fight them." Shui Zhong walked out with heavy steps, and his beast eyes were filled with a fierce light. "Yes. Are we afraid of them? Isn't it just a 9 Stars Valley? It's not like we haven't destroyed it before." Zhuoro and Ying Wu also walked out, and their eyes were fierce. The three of them had the bloodline of ancient demons. After such a long time of accumulation, their cultivation had reached the 4th level of the demon ancestor realm. Suddenly, the three of them emitted a demonic aura that filled the world. The crazy demonic aura that crossed the world flooded the entire hall like a flood. Bang! The spreading shock wave made everyone's eyes brighten. Merciless West looked at Shuizhong, shook his head, and said loudly, "If there's only a 9 Stars Valley, it won't be so scary." "What's that?" After Shuizhong realized that something was wrong, his eyebrows suddenly trembled, and he secretly withdrew his demonic aura. Impermanence Fairy stood in front of the crowd and said, "Some of you have already gone to the front lines. Although those people are wearing the clothes of the 9 Stars Valley, judging from their cultivation and moves, they have nothing to do with the 9 Stars Valley." The Green Emperor and the Yin Emperor nodded in agreement. As the strongest fighting force in the Bawang sect, they had already experienced the power of the invading enemy. Green Emperor added, "Don't forget, our biggest enemy now is the Long family. Since they dare to be so brazen this time, there must be something unusual going on behind their backs." As soon as he finished speaking, a cold aura spread in front of everyone. Everyone naturally knew of the Long family's reputation in the Tianyan continent. If the Long family was really the mastermind this time, then in order to preserve their strength, they could only leave through the passageway. Everyone knew that where there was life, there was hope. He had to leave, and he had to leave now. Sigh. But why are we so cowardly? I, the Devouring Spirit Emperor, have cultivated in the Chaos region for my entire life, and I have never been driven out like this. The Devouring Spirit Emperor's short body shook slightly, his eyes fluctuated, and a tyrannical energy spread out. Merciless West took a deep breath, looked at Nangong Ningyue, and said softly, "Ningyue, is there any news about Sect Master Sui?" Immediately, everyone looked at Nangong Ningyue with expectation, but the latter shook her head silently. Nangong Ningyue told everyone that since the chaos in the Chaos region, the Bawang sect had lost contact with the Shadow Hall disciples who were dormant in various continents. At this time, the Bawang sect had already become a place of death. No one could enter and no one could leave. Suddenly, everyone's eyes dimmed, and uneasiness and impatience ran through the hearts of the Bawang sect members. This was a great calamity for the Bawang sect. Boom! At this time, a huge energy collision sound came from the sky outside the meeting room. The strange fluctuation outside was like the roar of a golden dragon, and the various positions of the 10,000 demon refining god array suffered different degrees of attacks. Bang! Merciless West's origin ancestor stage 3rd stage strength suddenly erupted, and the window and door opened in response. Above the sky, the strange and shocking scene made everyone turn solemn. Rumble! Everyone's eyes changed dramatically. At this time, The heaven and earth covered by the 10,000 demon refining God array trembled. Looking from afar, the sky collapsed and the earth caved in. In the sky, the rolling pressure was like a mighty shock wave descending from the 9 heavens. Only the golden flame beast king, who had returned, was still leading the remaining Bawang sect members to struggle bitterly. Everyone, listen up. Go to each position and fill in the gaps. Merciless West shouted, and his eyes burst as he rushed out first. The current situation no longer allowed Merciless West to think. As a terrifying energy fluctuation surged out, Wuchang Fairy flew out as well, leaving behind only one sentence. If there are heavy casualties, you can leave through the passageway, but you must destroy the teleportation point after you leave. As soon as he finished speaking, Merciless West and Wuchang Fairy rushed into the sky and entered the energy formation of the 10,000 demon refining God array. Between heaven and earth, a faintly discernible Yuan Qi aura spread out, as if it had transformed into a sea of purple mist. Who dares to escape? I'll kill him first. Go. Shui Zhong was not to be outdone, and he followed closely behind, turning into a white demonic aura and rushing into the sky. In an instant, the Green Emperor, the Yin-Yang duo, and the rest all rushed into the sky and turned into their original forms. The huge beast shadow hovered between heaven and earth, and the ferocious demonic aura soon fought with the invading 9 Stars Valley. Brother Golden Flame, we're here to help you. The Green Emperor showed his original form of the soaring serpent. The huge green entity was mixed with the ferocious dragon's aura, and a terrifying pressure instantly descended upon the world. The Golden Flame Beast King stood in the sky, and the shock in his eyes was beyond words. Suddenly, the Golden Flame Beast King raised his head and let out a roar, and a terrifying aura rushed into the sky. In the 10,000 demon refining God array, huge waves surged into the sky, and the heavenly might was awe-inspiring. The sound of fighting resounded through the sky. Apart from the few thousand core members of the Bawang sect who had been transferred away, the remaining tens of thousands of disciples of the Bawang sect had been whittled down to a few thousand in the past month. In the sky, a few thousand figures rushed back and forth, and destructive attacks spread across heaven and earth. The roars and screams shook the heavens and earth. At the same time, in the vast sky, the light of the 10,000 demon refining God array distorted rapidly, and cracks in space broke through the energy formation. The light of the 10,000 demon refining God array, which was full of holes, gradually weakened, and the terrifying aura made all the Bawang sect members fearful. Boom! Boom! Kill all the people of the Bawang sect. Suddenly, a familiar voice rushed into the 10,000 demon refining God array. Soon, the martial artists of the 9 Stars Valley finally crossed the 10,000 demon refining God array and landed in the martial arts square of the Bawang sect. As the roar died down, Chen Yao's figure gradually solidified amidst the destructive fluctuations of the stars. Chen Yao stood in the sky and let out a roar. Behind him, stars fell from the sky, and the Milky Way covered heaven and earth. Chapter 2233. Chen Yao opened his arms as though he was showing off to his old friends in the 9 Stars Valley. Tang Wang, get out here. Look at how glorious the 9 Stars Valley is under my leadership. Ah! His sinister and arrogant laughter spread throughout the Bawang sect. Mixed with the power of space, the terrifying sound waves caused the entire mountain to shake. Chen Yao seemed to have waited for this moment for too long. He wanted to prove that he was much stronger than Su Yi and that he was the true king of the Chaos region. At that moment, Merciless West and the rest, who had retreated to the sky above the Bawang sect, were shocked by the magnificent sight of the enemy army. Behind Chen Yao stood 3,000 martial artists. The martial artists' auras filled the sky like a courtyard. They descended from the 9 heavens like divine soldiers descending from the heavens, making one's hair stand on end. More than half of them were origin emperors, and there were more than 100 origin ancestors. What was difficult to detect was that there were a few origin domain-level martial artists hidden in the crowd. Merciless West and Impermanence Fairy were shocked. Such a lineup was definitely not something that the Nine Stars Valley, which was only a second-rate or third-rate force in the Sky Barbarian world, could produce. Just the few origin domain-level martial artists hidden in the crowd were enough to make one's heart beat wildly. Where did Chen Yao find so many martial artists? Impermanence Fairy looked at the sky with fear. Merciless West had cultivated martial arts with her for many years, but she had only reached the origin ancestor realm recently with Su Yi's help. How could there be so many origin ancestor realm martial artists in the Chaos region? Merciless West opened the wine jug and took a big gulp. Her eyes flashed coldly as she said, "Then we'll have to ask the person behind Chen Yao. Is it a true martial artist or a puppet martial artist with elixirs?" The fierce Nine Stars Valley was filled with majestic aura. The Beast Emperors stood in the sky, guarding the 1,000-demon refining array in all directions. Every Beast Emperor roared as their eyes widened. Unparalleled waves of air blasted toward the people from the Nine Stars Valley as if they were demonstrating their power. "Chen Yao, do you still remember me? Today I'll crush you completely." Shuizhong shouted and revealed his true appearance. The gigantic desiring heaven snow ape was like a small mountain, and its ferocious demonic aura filled the air. Rumble. One after another, the Green Emperor, the Yin-Yang Two Nether Kings, the Purple Elephant Emperor, the Spirit-Devouring Emperor, and many other Beast Emperors also transformed into their true forms. Don't be afraid. The Bawang sect is not afraid. The Green Emperor's long and narrow eyes were filled with boundless killing intent. The other Beast Emperors responded in unison. Immediately, the beasts roared and the mountains and rivers shook. The unstoppable energy radiance seemed to have passed through the ancient world. A vast demonic aura swept across the horizon, and the wild and desolate aura shook the spirits of all the Bawang sect disciples. Facing the powerful aura of the Bawang sect's Beast Emperor, Chen Yao looked around and raised his eyebrows slightly. There was not much emotion in his eyes. "Flee, demonic beast, how dare you act rashly in front of us? Today I'm going to take back what you owed me." In the Nine Stars Calamity Sea, Shuizhong and the others had taken away too much of the Nine Stars Valley's resources and used them all to construct the Bawang sect. Chen Yao had never forgotten about this debt. Suddenly, Chen Yao pushed his palm forward. His entire body was covered by stars, and his eyes were completely black. Like a star giant, the vast aura of a 9th-level origin ancestor was mixed with a terrifying oppressive aura as he looked down on the earth. "Chen Yao, you deceiving and destroying your ancestors thing. Are you trying to frame the Nine Stars Valley for being unjust?" Tang Wang shouted with a sharp gaze. In the distance, Tang Wang's voice quickly drifted over. A dazzling origin energy radiance cut through the sky like a sharp sword, but it was shattered by Chen Yao. Bang! Looking at the flustered and exasperated Tang Wang, Chen Yao was extremely satisfied. His white hair fluttered in the wind, and he looked like a demon descending into the world. "Old man, are you shocked by my power? Am I 1,000 times stronger than that dog?" Chen Yao smiled evilly and looked coldly at the 10,000 demon refining god array in the dome. As soon as he finished speaking, the aura of a 9th-level origin ancestor descended upon the Bawang sect again. Chen Yao's eyebrows twitched, and the star dragon behind him shuttled back and forth. "Everyone from the Nine Stars Valley, kill!" Their aura exploded as if the sky was being split open. The giant star dragon was driven by 3,000 people at the same time, and a huge starlight covered the sky as it struck the 10,000 demon refining god array heavily. "How dare you! Bastard, I want you dead!" Merciless West's eyes were red, and a huge handprint instantly formed in front of her. However, The Star Dragon had already been formed, and Merciless West's strength alone was useless. Merciless West and Impermanence Fairy, who were floating in midair, were stunned as they watched the divine light above their heads penetrate the void and engulf everyone as if it was going to devour everything. Bang! A terrifying sonic boom was heard in the vast space of the Bawang sect. Under the pressure of the stars, the 10,000 demon refining god array had completely exploded. The cracked array blossomed in midair like fireworks, and the sudden explosion of energy pushed all the beast emperors who were guarding the array back to the Bawang square. Merciless West and the Bawang sect beast emperors who had gathered together were shocked when the array broke. All the beast emperors, including Tang Wang, looked dispirited. The 10,000 demon refining god array was connected to their aura. When the array broke, they were also seriously injured. Chen Yao, you bastard! Merciless West's chest hurt, and the shock wave that filled the sky directly caused her aura to fluctuate. This is even worse. Do you want to see? I like to make you crawl under my feet helplessly. Chen Yao shouted and laughed wildly. Suddenly, the Star Dragon roared and rushed into the broken 10,000 demon refining god array. In the distorted space, its aura was domineering and destructive. All the Bawang sect disciples who had yet to escape turned pale as if they had sensed something. Their eyes were filled with fear. Ah! In the next moment, tragic screams and a bloody scene played out in front of Merciless West and the others. The resplendent Star Dragon's roar resounded through the world, accompanied by the death of countless disciples. Under the starlight, there was nowhere to escape. This was a fear that the Bawang sect had never felt before. All the Bawang sect disciples tried their best to break free from such a terrifying distance, but they had already become fish on the chopping block of the vast Star Dragon. Soon, half of the thousands of Bawang sect disciples who were still struggling were gone. Some of them did not even resist. They just raised their heads and disappeared into the Star Dragon. Witnessing the murderous aura that filled the skies, all the members of the Overlord sect were filled with shock, hatred, and anger. The Bawang sect that they had painstakingly raised and operated. The Bawang sect that was originally thriving. Because of Qin Yao's selfishness, it had become a barren land of bones and a world of blood. The air was filled with cries for help, and the light was mixed with the helpless faces of the Bawang sect disciples. Suddenly, Merciless West, who was standing at the front, spat out a mouthful of blood, which was caught by Impermanence Fairy. Chapter 2234. I'm going to kill you, bastard! Tang Wang regained his senses, and his despair turned into a death wish. The sky trembled as Tang Wang turned into a ray of starlight and flew towards Chen Yao like a sharp energy sword. You're asking for death. Die. Sinner of the 9 Stars Valley. Chen Yao looked down at the sky as if he was looking at ants. Instantly, a murderous aura was released. At the same time, the moment Tang Wang dashed out, all the powerful fighters of the Bawang sect roared and rushed forward. Elder Tang, don't go over. Merciless West clutched her chest, her eyes full of anger. Everyone had witnessed how terrifying Qin Yao's power was. Tang Wang's attack was like an egg hitting a rock. When the Golden Fire Beast King, the only Monster Realm fighter, brought Elder Tang Wang back, everyone's eyes were filled with sorrow. Sect leader, I've let down the Bawang sect. Tang Wang's eyes were half closed as he lay in a pool of blood. Countless rays of starlight shone from his body, which was riddled with holes. A drop of hot tear flew across the sky. Tang Wang finally closed his eyes unwillingly. His lips were slightly open, and the blood had not dried yet. 9 Stars Valley, I'm back. Tang Wang's last bit of life force dissipated before his wailing could be heard completely. Under everyone's gaze, Tang Wang's lips curled up slightly. It was as if Elder Tang had returned to his beloved 9 Stars Valley in his last breath. Old bastard! You're the one who betrayed your master. 9 Stars Valley doesn't need a traitor like you. Chen Yao flung his robe and looked coldly at Tang Wang, who had collapsed in the arms of the Bawang sect members. Chen Yao, you bastard! Go! Avenge Elder Tang! The Green Emperor's grief grew. More than 1,000 Bawang sect disciples and a few hundred savage beasts rose to their feet at the same time. The Green Emperor, who had always been calm and rational, could no longer hold back. At this moment, even if they were to die, they had to die fighting. Fight for Tang Wang, fight for Su Yi, fight for the glory of the Bawang sect. Tang Wang's death ignited the last bit of fighting spirit in the Bawang sect. The sound of a sonic boom reverberated through the sky. Above the blue dome of heaven, countless yuan qi rays shrouded the area. The cries of battle were the perfect prelude to this battle. Thousands of thunderous booms resounded through the world as large amounts of flesh, bones, and blood splashed out. However, the attacks of the 9 Stars Valley's experts were too perfect. The strong and the weak were immediately distinguished. In the surrounding sky, many Bawang sect disciples' eyes trembled with grief. Chen Yao's terrifying strength was too shocking. When the last beam of light from the 9 Stars Valley shot towards the Bawang sect, a small portion of the 9 Stars Valley's experts were reduced to ashes by the light. Hoo-hoo! Returning to the starting point, Merciless West and Impermanence Fairy once again leaned against each other. The fighting Huang Jian's left arm had disappeared. Lei Yunhe, Nangong Ningyue, and the others were also covered in scars. In the air not far away, the Green Emperor and the other Beast Emperors returned to their human forms. Their burning eyes were filled with boundless fury. Their eyes were filled with helplessness, disappointment, and unwillingness. In this short period of time, the Bawang sect's fighting strength had been exhausted. Behind them, there were still more than 200 Bawang sect disciples fighting a bloody battle. The experts present looked at Chen Yao and the others who were like evil spirits in the sky and gritted their teeth in hatred. Old man, it seems like today is the end. Impermanence Fairy frowned as she looked at the panting Merciless West in front of her. The tenderness hidden in her eyes was revealed. Merciless West smiled bitterly. Her eyes were still firm, but it was obvious that all the Bawang sect disciples, including Merciless West, were not afraid. This might be the last day of the Bawang sect. You should leave quickly. Sir Consecrator, leave the rest to us. The Green Emperor flickered with a green light and flew to Merciless West's side. Merciless West shook her head. As the consecrator of the Bawang sect, how could she retreat at this time? This place was built by that brat. How can I abandon it? Merciless West raised her eyes and looked at the sky with murderous intent. Suddenly, the remaining Bawang sect members said in unison, "If the consecrator doesn't leave, how can I retreat? If the consecrator doesn't leave, how can I retreat? If the consecrator doesn't leave, how can I retreat? If the consecrator doesn't leave, how can I retreat?" Everyone's determination to die spread across the sky as if it contained a huge pressure. At this moment, no one retreated. The Bawang sect members stood side by side with the Tyrannosaurus monstrous beast. The broken but strong line of defense was only to resist the trampling of the outsiders. No one in the Bawang sect was afraid. In the sky, seeing the Bawang sect's last stand, Chen Yao's lips curled up. His gaze moved between Merciless West and the others. Great. You have a lot of fighting spirit. But no matter how much you resist, you're still a bunch of trash. Let Su Yi find you in hell. After that, Chen Yao glanced at the few experts behind him. As though he had received their approval, he ordered the remaining 2,000 experts from the 9 Stars Valley. Kill them all. Formation. Activate. Chen Yao said coldly. Suddenly, more than 2,000 experts filled the sky. They were as bright as the sun and densely covered the sky. Their aura was majestic and terrifying. Charge. The people of the Overlord sect. Shi Wuqing's eyes were filled with sorrow as he roared. Suddenly, the demonic aura shrouded the sky and the earth again. A fierce light flashed above Bawang Square. This was the Bawang sect's final counterattack. In the sky, the Milky Way flowed and heaven and earth reversed. The devouring starry sky formed by more than 2,000 experts brought with it a strong chaotic aura. The obscure energy was on the verge of bursting out. It was as if thousands of living things were like ants in front of them. Shatter the stars, mountains, and rivers. Chen Yao's eyes narrowed. In his dark and deep eyes, an evil light surged. In an instant, the sky in the Bawang sect trembled for no reason. The mountains tilted and the rivers flowed in reverse. Under the guidance of the power of the stars, huge waves of aura swept across the sky. Rumble! More than 2,000 rays of starlight shot down from the sky like countless dazzling meteors. The boundless divine light shook the world for all eternity. Suddenly, the aura of countless demonic beasts surged above the Bawang sect. The shadows of the ferocious demonic beasts turned into energy and fought against the dazzling heavenly aura. Walala! The divine light spread. The power of the stars, which were as dense as needles, passed through the shadows of the demonic beasts. The energy of the two sides collided in an instant. It was like the beginning of chaos and destruction. Bang! Bang! Violent roars resounded in the sky. The energy that covered the sky made the entire Bawang sect feel like it was daytime. At this moment, time seemed to have stopped and the world was silent. Shock waves visible to the naked eye spread out vertically. The vast energy pressure made everyone in the area feel like they were in an illusion. In the next second, time flowed rapidly again. All the light, dust, and attacks sped up in an instant. Clang! Clang! With a violent sound of metal, the light from the shock waves surged out like thunder. Countless rays of light reflected the sky and earth. The silhouettes of several thousand silhouettes flew backward in the sky like a school of carps crossing the river. Waves of air blasted through the layers of space ripples. Chapter 2235. The boundless starlight spread across the sky and finally dissipated in an instant. In the sky, the vast river of stars changed direction because of the earth-shattering sound. The scattered stars began to flicker weakly. The attack just now had exceeded everyone's expectations, including the 9 Stars Valley. When Chen Yao reappeared in the starry sky, several Yuan domain stage experts gathered behind him to prevent him from losing any further momentum. When their gazes landed on the Bawang sect, they couldn't help but feel their souls tremble. Above the Overlord Square, a giant bell of chaos appeared above the heads of Shi Wuqing and the others. The heavenly might divine runes circled around the bell like a majestic divine general that had crossed the river of time, protecting the shattered Overlord's river and mountain. "I'm late." A magnetic and firm voice instantly suppressed the earth-shattering sound. The voice was like a Buddhist chant, and the entire Bawang sect immediately quietened down. "That's—" When he heard the voice, Chen Yao gasped as if he had been electrocuted, and his eyes trembled. As he watched the god bell's aura fluctuate and the vast pressure slowly dissipate, Chen Yao finally saw the figure standing in front of everyone. Chen Yao couldn't be more familiar with this figure. It was Su Yi, the young man who had once completely destroyed the 9 Stars Valley's belief and martial arts. Su Yi. Chen Yao's eyes were filled with shock and anger as a bad premonition arose in his heart. Chen Yao's gaze met the Yuan domain experts behind him. From their reactions, it could be seen that Su Yi's arrival had also exceeded their expectations. No one knew how Su Yi had returned to the Chaos Territory. No one knew how Su Yi had escaped the joint search of Hong Qianlong and the others. On the other side, within the God Bell, the Beast Emperors, Merciless West, and the others had already experienced such a majestic aura. When they saw Su Yi's arrival, they all shouted excitedly, and tears of joy drifted into the air. However, The remaining 200 or so Bawang sect disciples looked solemn, as this was the first time they were in front of such a magnificent bell. The desolate aura was accompanied by rolling heavenly thunder. Their hearts and souls trembled. Shocked, the disciples of the Bawang sect prostrated themselves in worship. Sect Master! Master! Sui! At this moment, the Bawang sect disciples present cheered excitedly. The boiling cheers made them forget the pain on their bodies. Turning around, Sui saw Merciless West and Impermanence Fairy, whom he had not seen for a long time. Both of them were covered in blood and their auras were weak. Suyi's heart ached. Looking elsewhere, Huang Jian's hand was broken, Lei Yunhe's bones were ghastly white, and even Nangong Ningyue's clothes were ruined, revealing astonishing scars. When Sui was not around, the Bawang sect was almost destroyed. Apart from these, the Green Emperor, the Yin-Yang Two Underworlds, the Purple Elephant Emperor, and the other Beast Emperors were also riddled with scars and covered in blood. Some of them were even on the verge of death. Suddenly, Su Yi's gaze locked onto Elder Tang Wang, who was in the Golden Fire Beast King's hands. His gaze suddenly froze. Disbelief instantly rose from the bottom of his heart. As he approached, Su Yi's gaze overflowed with aghast fluctuations. His entire aura collapsed in a flash. Elder Tang! Su Yi lowered his head. Large drops of tears suddenly fell down at this moment. Tang Wang was like a teacher to Su Yi, like a father. In this 1 minute late, Elder Tang Wang had left on a crane. Could it be that when he had invited Tang Wang into the Bawang sect, it was all for today's result? Su Yi shook his head angrily. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails dug deep into his palms. His slightly trembling body made Su Yi feel extremely sorrowful. Regret, anger, and hatred filled his mind. Su Yi's aura soared to the extreme. The gloomy, murderous intent was like a gloomy wave, ready to explode at any moment. Elder Tang died for the Bawang sect. Even though he died, it was an honorable death. Su Yi, let's settle the matter at hand first. Merciless West sighed. Her fists were clenched tightly, full of anger. That's right, Tang Wang had done what he wanted to do the most. Perhaps, if Su Yi had been a little later, Elder Tang Wang would not have been the only one who had sacrificed himself for the Bawang sect. Even though Tang Wang had let down the Bawang sect because of the 9 Stars Valley, his heroic sacrifice had illuminated the Bawang sect for eternity. Su Yi wiped his tears and restrained his aura. Through Chunyao, he looked at the mountains and ridges. At this moment, the Bawang sect, which had been transformed from the Feng family village, was in tatters. The mountains and rivers had withered. Rivers had exploded, mountains had collapsed, heaven and earth were dark, and the sun and moon had turned upside down. As Su Yi's gaze shifted, the horrifying mountain of corpses and sea of blood in the distance drifted like withered leaves in the wind. Above the gloomy sky, thunder rumbled and starlight spilled, but it was difficult to drown out the bloody scene of thousands of miles of blood. Not only were there thousands of people from the Bawang sect, but there were also thousands of experts from the 9 Stars Valley. Their bones had piled up into mountains. The layers of bloody hands were like banners that beckoned souls, announcing the arrival of hell. Today, the Bawang sect had suffered a great loss. The sorrowful and indignant people of the Bawang sect seemed to have endless strength because of Su Yi's arrival. The team of less than 200 people stood behind Su Yi again and let out a deafening roar. The Bawang sect listens to the sect leader's orders. The ferocious and bloodthirsty voice rang out from the primordial chaos bell. Su Yi raised his eyebrows and his eyes were bloodshot. Chunyao, how do you want to die? Every word was like an ultimatum from the gods. The blazing primordial chaos supreme technique and the aura of the primordial chaos bell swept out like a storm, domineering and destructive. Su Yi, what kind of Dharma treasure is this? Chern Yao could feel that the primordial chaos bell had forcibly blocked the monstrous power of the stellar mountain and river destruction. Could this be Su Yi's trump card all along? Behind him, a few Yuan domain experts dressed in the Nine Stars Valley's uniform moved forward. They looked at the terrifying bell that covered the sky and secretly said, "This kid is strange. If we can't capture him alive, we'll just kill him. We'll go back and report to the Dragon God." Suddenly, Chern Yao's eyes flickered and his horrified gaze quickly calmed down. At this moment, more than 2,000 Nine Stars Valley experts gathered behind him again. "Su Yi, is this what you're relying on? But soon, he'll be mine." Chern Yao's robes fluttered, and the deep and terrifying starlight energy lingered around his body again. He said to Su Yi, "Even if your eyes are omnipotent, what can you do? Do you think you can withstand the stellar mountain and river destruction again?" Suddenly, Merciless West and the others' eyes trembled. Indeed, other than Su Yi, the Bawang sect members were all sick. In terms of cultivation, the Nine Stars Valley was superior to the Bawang sect. Not to mention, there were so many of them. Merciless West stood side by side. She didn't hold back her Yuan ancestor soul pressure and was ready to attack with all her might. In an instant, all the fighting forces of the Bawang sect surged with thunderous energy. At this moment, the Bawang sect could only fight against 10 people alone. No matter what, they had to fight. Chapter 2236. We will hold these Nine Stars Valley disciples back. Wuchang Fairy's eyes were filled with murderous intent as a purple thunderbolt flew out from her palm. "Master, please take care of Chern Yao." The Green Emperor released his demonic aura and transformed into his original form of the soaring serpent. Boom! "All of you back off. Stay in the primordial chaos ancient bell." Su Yi shouted. All the experts of the Bawang sect were shocked and stood rooted to the ground. The blazing Emperor Sparrow radiance shone from Su Yi's back. Amidst the thunder and lightning, Su Yi ordered everyone to back off. "A loser will always be a loser. Chern Yao, today's debt of blood, I, Su Yi, will take it all back from your Nine Stars Valley." Su Yi's scarlet eyes trembled slightly, and the corners of his mouth curved into a sinister smile. He aimed at Su Yi. Suddenly, a dazzling Emperor Sparrow radiance shot out from behind Su Yi, like a signal rising into the sky. GG. Chern Yao and all the experts of the Nine Stars Valley were shocked. The Emperor Sparrow's shadow that rose into the sky quickly turned into dazzling fireworks that bloomed brightly. Suddenly, the sky above the Bawang sect was filled with turbulent winds, lightning, and thunder. Roar! Countless primordial chi radiance came from all directions. In front of the radiance, a dazzling demon realm aura attracted everyone's attention. The one in the lead was none other than Immortal Bodhi. Xianjian sect, everyone is here to help. Behind Bodhi Fairy, Ji Hanua's eyes shone brightly as she led the Xianjian sect over. Soon, a series of sharp roars stunned everyone on the spot. The people of the Bawang sect looked up at the countless experts that descended from the sky. They were petrified. 6 Unity sect, everyone is here to fight. Faction leader Su, Purple Shadow Tower is here to eliminate the thieves. King of Sky Prides, everyone from Boundless Palace is here as promised. Rogue Cultivator Disciple, Yu Qingfang has come to fight. The one who spoke was the injured warrior that Su Yi had treated in Sword Star City. Without exception, everyone who had witnessed Su Yi's miracle in Sword Star City had come. Not long after, more and more second-rate and third-rate forces gathered above the Bawang sect. They formed a circle and filled the small Bawang sect to the point that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The sound waves shook the heavens and the earth. The passionate roars made everyone in the Bawang sect tear up with excitement. This was the gathering of the Chaos Realm. This was the kind of cooperation that was hard to come by in 10,000 years. At this critical juncture, The various forces in the Chaos Realm all chose to side with the Bawang sect. Not only the forces, but many rogue cultivators had also gathered at this moment. This was a merit that was hard to obtain in 10,000 generations. There were more than 10,000 of them, and their momentum was unparalleled. The aura that was gathered together was enough to tear the entire sky into pieces. Are they all here for the Bawang sect? Sui, what did this brat do? Merciless West's tears flowed down his cheeks. Looking at the dense crowd of martial artists, he was so excited that he found it hard to breathe. Although the cultivations of the martial artists were different, this was definitely a peerless force that could not be underestimated. It was enough to destroy the heavens and the earth, enough to defend the dignity of the entire Chaos Realm. In the sky above the Bawang sect, a flower of hope was blooming. Kill! Bastards of 9 Stars Valley! Shuizhong, Zhuoro, and Yingwu roared passionately. Suddenly, all the demon emperor's ferocious ancient bodies were like courtyards, full of killing intent. Chunyao, water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it. The day you messed up the Chaos Realm was the day you gave the Chaos Realm to me. Su-Yi stood in the sky, looking at Chen Yao with awe-inspiring majesty. I'll use your death as a sacrifice to my elder Tang Wang, Su-Yi said coldly. More than 2,009 Stars Valley experts were shocked, and their faces were solemn. As the leader, Chen Yao's mouth twitched. He had not expected such a scene, and he had never seen it before. Was this still the Chaos Realm? This was a tough bone that the major forces did not dare to bite, but they had all come together for Su-Yi? Was this a joke to the 9 Stars Valley? Kill Chen Yao and return the Chaos Realm to us. The 9 Stars Valley must die. Chen Yao, you bastard, must die. Sect leader Su, we'll listen to you. The crowd surged, and the terrifying sound waves caused the sky to tremble. Every sentence was an earth-shattering sonic boom, and even the void trembled. Su-Yi, do you think you can defeat us like this? Chen Yao laughed wildly, but the throbbing in his eyes was still lingering. Suddenly, starlight shot out from Chen Yao's hand, and violent energy suppressed the sound waves. He shouted himself hoarse, "How dare you fight with me? You're just a motley crew. What's the big deal?" More than half of the 9 Stars Valley's experts were at the Origin Emperor realm. Even though the 10,000 experts from the Chaos Realm had a terrifying number, their cultivation was indeed inferior. At this moment, an aged and powerful voice sounded out from a crack in the sky. Master of the Chaos Realm, some people think you're not powerful enough. Let me add fuel to the fire. After that, the gazes of all the experts in the surroundings converged towards a certain point in the sky. A pitch-black spatial rift had suddenly formed, and it was deep and empty. Su-Yi's eyes widened in shock at the appearance of an old figure from the black crack. Grandpa Ginseng. Su-Yi's blood-red eyes flashed with surprise as he stared at the pitch-black crack. At that moment, the blood jasper spiritual Ginseng had the demeanor of an immortal. His strength had soared, and he had reached the terrifying level 3 Demon Emperor realm. Look what I've brought you! The blood jasper spiritual Ginseng smiled and spat out the roots in his mouth, wiping them behind him. Instantly, the primitive behemoth opened its ferocious mouth in the crack, and a terrifying demonic aura that could swallow heaven and earth appeared in the sky. Roar! Rapid roars resounded in the sky, and a total of 300 demon emperors and demon grandmasters came out of the crack. They looked at Su-Yi, who was like a demon venerable, with reverence in their eyes. We've been entrusted by Lord Spiritual Ginseng to listen to your orders. Su-Yi had not expected such a grand occasion. With the help of these 300 demon emperors, his strength would definitely not lose. A warm feeling surged in his heart. At the most critical moment, the blood jasper spiritual Ginseng would never screw up. Grandpa Ginseng, thank you, Su-Yi said loudly. His green robe fluttered in the wind, and he looked like a demon venerable. "Don't look at me. You have to thank my Miss Bodhi." The blood jasper spiritual ginseng glanced at Bodhi Celestial, his eyes full of affection. Immediately, Sui looked at Bodhi Celestial. He had a rough idea of what had happened. That day, the blood jasper spiritual ginseng had returned to the Chaos Realm as promised. At that time, he, who had reached the level 3 Demon Emperor realm, must have been hiding somewhere to cultivate in seclusion. In the end, he was found by Bodhi Celestial. Bodhi Celestial was a monster. The blood jasper spiritual ginseng could only listen to him obediently. Under the command of the blood jasper spiritual ginseng and Bodhi Celestial, who had great healing skills, any barbaric demonic beasts would rush over. Chapter 2237. The demonic chi of the Bawang sect soared to the sky, overbearing and destructive. The 300 demonic beasts knelt down on one knee before Sui. This scene shocked the tens of thousands of people present. These were the peerless demonic beasts that had been hiding in the Chaos territory for hundreds of years. Today they had come for Sui. Gulp! Not only the Bawang sect, but even the 2,000 experts from the 9 Stars Valley were shocked. Their eyes trembled as though they had seen a ghost. Everyone knew how the experts from the 9 Stars Valley were able to increase their strength rapidly. There would always be repercussions after forcefully increasing one's strength. The demonic beasts in front of them were martial emperors and grandmasters. At this moment, everyone's eyes began to tremble. It was hard to say who would live and who would die today. Chen Yao's eyes trembled. The demonic beasts and the experts from the Chaos territory were so terrifying that even he felt his heart tremble. At this moment, the 4 Origin Domain Realm experts behind him had different thoughts as they whispered to each other. Where did this kid get his strength from? No wonder the Dragon God is so afraid of him. Chen Yao, you deal with this yourself. My Sky Dragon sect doesn't want to get involved. With just the few of us, I'm afraid we'll be skinned alive. Chen Yao, we've given you so many 6 berserk pills. There's no reason for us to die with you. Chen Yao's heart skipped a beat. The Origin Domain Realm experts clearly had the intention to retreat. He shouted, all of you! No one is allowed to leave. Attack! Chen Yao shouted angrily. Chen Yao threw caution to the wind and pushed his palm forward. The vast power of the stars seemed to have a strong suction force. More than 2,009 Stars Valley experts suddenly charged towards Sui. Everyone from the 9 Stars Valley, kill them! In an instant, the 300 demonic beasts and the experts from the Chaos territory clamored. Origin Chi surged under their feet as they flew towards the 9 Stars Valley. Tear them apart. Let them know the wrath of the Chaos territory. Chen Yao, you little bastard! As the voices of the crowd spread out, tens of thousands of Yuan Qi light rays shot out from all directions, colliding with the star formation with an unstoppable force. In the vast wilderness, the violent spatial ripples were once again shattered by this incomparably terrifying attack. Continuous ripples spread out, and the space also collapsed into countless black cracks in an instant due to the tremendous force. Bang! Unparalleled waves of demonic beast energy roared, shaking the heavens and earth. 300 demon venerables, together with the demonic beasts of the Bawang sect, formed a magnificent demonic beast battle line. A large amount of strange and vigorous demonic aura seemed to be coming to the end of the world. In the blink of an eye, the Chaos Region's cultivators and demonic beasts joined forces to attack the 2,000 cultivators from the 9 Stars Valley. An astonishing suppressive energy spread through the void, shattering the stars. Endless light surged through the void. On the other side of the horizon, Chen Yao and a few other Yuan Domain Realm experts who were trying to flee had been completely stopped by Su Yi's violent energy. Don't you think it's too late to escape now? Su Yi's gaze was cold. The Emperor's sparrow behind him suddenly sucked in, and magma-like flames swept out like a tornado. Along with the scorching energy, Su-Yi created a fire-attribute spatial zone. Within the spatial zone, a vast amount of energy spread out. And all of you, show me your faces. Su-Yi's cold gaze swept across, and landed on the Yuan domain realm experts, who were shocked. Immediately, under the violent bombardment of the Emperor Sparrow's divine flames, the true faces of the 4 Yuan domain realm experts were revealed. From their auras, Su-Yi could distinguish them. Sky Dragon Sect, Divine Tiger Sect, Immortal Sword Sect, and Gemini Sect. This result was naturally within Su-Yi's expectations. Su-Yi, do you really think you can defeat Lord Dragon God? The Sky Dragon Sect's expert, Wang Jinghui, who had brought Long Kuei to the 9 Stars Valley, was among them. He roared at Su-Yi. Don't worry about me. I only know one thing. All of you will die today. Su-Yi sneered. The flames of fury and vengeance took over Su-Yi's eyes. Fiery golden patterns flashed across the corners of his eyes, and killing intent shot out. Go. This kid is only an origin ancestor. Let's kill him together. We won't be at a disadvantage. Wang Jinghui glanced at Chen Yao, knowing that Chen Yao was no longer reliable. Su-Yi was determined to kill him. Since his identity had been exposed, Wang Jinghui no longer tried to escape. He shouted at Chen Yao, "Kill this kid!" Walala! As soon as he finished speaking, before anyone noticed, Su-Yi's entire body soared into the air, and he had already transformed into an enormous Emperor Sparrow's illusory image. The primordial Chaos Ancient Bell had been used to protect the Bawang sect and Overlord Square. Now, Su-Yi could only rely on his own strength to fight to the death. 1 versus 4 Yuan domain. Suddenly, a giant Emperor Sparrow appeared in the fiery space. At the same time, Su-Yi's roar shook the heavens and earth. Despairing heavenly star, open! Su-Yi's roar and the Emperor Sparrow's cry merged into one in the flames. As his voice rang out, the Emperor Sparrow's figure turned into a pure, transparent golden color. In the sky, the Emperor Sparrow's divine eyes suddenly opened. The purifying flames were deep and terrifying as they spread for thousands of miles. The destructive flames shot out like the chains of the Grim Reaper, charging toward Chen Yao, Wang Jinghui, and the rest with unparalleled strength. It devoured the heavens and earth and destroyed everything. The terrifying flames were enough to incinerate everything in the world into nothingness. When the Emperor Sparrow's flames, which were comparable to the 7th Yuan domain stage, charged toward Chen Yao, the shock in Chen Yao and the rest's eyes was visible to the naked eye. Su-Yi, how can you be so terrifying? Chen Yao shouted from within the flames. No. The Sky Dragon Sect won't let you off. Wang Jinghui's eyes trembled. I want to return to the Immortal Sword Sect. Su-Yi, don't kill me. The Emperor's Sparrow was like a divine beast that suppressed the world. It opened its huge mouth and roared, "Die for the deceased Bawang sect and Elder Tang." Bam! Urgent cries for help resounded one after another. The flames, which were as bright as day, had finally descended upon this bloody world. Gee! The cry pierced through the heavens and earth, piercing through the clouds and splitting rocks. The Emperor Sparrow's flaming wings covered the entire sky above the Bawang sect. Astonishing waves of fire swept out, terrifying and ferocious. At this moment, the grand constellation array also collapsed the moment Chen Yao died. Rays of light shone brightly as the galaxy shattered. Is that the phoenix of the Bawang sect? Oh my god! That's a divine beast. Chaos region actually has such a divine beast. Many of the 9 Stars Valley's experts stared at the sky and had already forgotten to resist. They had never seen such a terrifying scene in their lives. Bam! In the end, the 2009 Stars Valley's experts were utterly defeated under the pressure of 10,000 people. They screamed in agony. The barbaric demonic beasts had completely unleashed their wild nature. Their hatred and anger multiplied the strength of the entire Chaos region's experts. Chapter 2238. Boom! The nine heavens' divine sparrow spread its fiery wings and circled around the Bawang sect. Golden radiance flashed in its eyes as it looked down at the bloody and filthy world. Chirp, chirp! The divine bird screeched and the nine heavens shook. In the void, the wind blew and the clouds surged. The fiery red divine radiance spread across the heavens and earth. It was as though there was endless wind and thunder as it enveloped the sky above the Bawang sect. After swallowing Chen Yao and the rest, the terrifying flames filled the entire void. The invading Nine Stars Valley's powerful enemies instantly turned pale. In an instant, the powerful cultivators of the Nine Stars Valley were not only faced with waves of enemies in front of them, but also a terrifying fireball that fell from above. At this moment, the void above the Bawang sect seemed to have turned into an endless fiery hell. The huge fireball that was like a meteorite pierced through the sky and smashed onto the mountain peak. The darkness of the human world would be completely verified by this endless sea of fire. Ah! It hurts. Help! What a terrifying flame! My head! It hurts! The screams were like the screams of ghosts. The powerful cultivators of the Nine Stars Valley turned into bloody light spots under the powerful waves of fire and dissipated in the air. Their lives were transformed like ants. As the flames flew, the figures transformed into lines of blood and formed a dazzling blood-red net in the sky. It was dazzling and frightening. Soon, the flames disappeared. The illusory figure of the Emperor Sparrow circled in the sky and returned to the chaotic divine bell. The illusory figure disappeared and gradually turned into a physical body. The exhausted Su-Yi landed on the ground and he looked as though he was floating in the air. At this moment, Su-Yi's great void spiritual sea was exhausted. His meridians were like dried-up rivers and he couldn't use any of his vital energy. Just now, Su-Yi had saved the Bawang sect by himself. He had opened up the mysterious space and the combination of the devastating heavenly star and the Emperor Sparrow. To Su-Yi, this was an extremely risky attempt. Whoosh! At the same time, the Blood Jade Spirit Ginseng and Bodhi Immortal had already returned to the Bell of Chaos. As a herb-type barbaric beast, it looked at Su-Yi's weak aura and nodded at each other. Two streams of wood attribute Yuan Qi flowed into Su-Yi's body at the same time. Qi La. The gentle wood elemental energy formed a sharp contrast with the terrifying aura in the surroundings. As the Yuan Qi entered his body, Su-Yi's shriveled meridians suddenly trembled, and a light groan came from his throat. The jade-green Yuan Qi transformed into a divine ring that was tightly embedded in the divine light around Su-Yi. Amidst the wind and thunder, the energy of heaven and earth slowly followed the call of the divine light and flowed back into his flesh and meridians. The profound and terrifying primordial chaos, supreme art gradually revolved. Su-Yi's eyelids fluttered as he gradually entered the meditative state of an old monk. Don't disturb him. Su-Yi has expended too much energy. If we don't treat him in time, I'm afraid his foundation will be damaged. Merciless West's eyes moved slightly as he spoke to the Green Emperor and the rest behind him. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, everyone suppressed the excitement in their hearts and did not gather around Su-Yi. At this moment, the group of beast emperors and the disciples of the Bawang sect had already recovered to varying degrees after being baptized by the primordial chaos ancient bell. Looking outside the ancient bell, there were still many experts of the Nine Stars Valley who were stubbornly resisting. A trace of coldness flashed in Merciless West's eyes. He glanced at Su-Yi, who was recuperating, and said coldly, "Kid, let me help you settle the remaining mess. We can still fight. Now let's kill our way out." Merciless West shouted as waves of energy storms were released out of thin air. Chiohan, I'll leave Ai to you. Protect him well. Merciless West and Wuchang Fairy looked at each other, their eyes full of trust and relief. Su Yi's return to the sect had given everyone hope. Now that the danger of the Bawang sect had been eliminated, all that was left was to defeat the people of the Nine Stars Valley like a whirlwind. Then, in the void above, the primordial chaos ancient bell shone with a faint golden light and an aura of desolation swept out again. Merciless West, the Green Emperor, the Yin-Yang Two Nether Brothers, and the rest suddenly unleashed their ferocious auras. Rays of dazzling light surged as they rushed out of the primordial chaos ancient bell's light and charged toward the battlefield. Avenge the dead brothers and sisters of the Bawang sect. Avenge Elder Tang. Die, you bastards of the Nine Stars Valley. When the martial artists of the Chaos region and the 300 great demons saw that the people of the Bawang sect had joined the battle, they were even more excited and their soul strength became even more ferocious. Strong murderous intents shot up to the sky. The invincible army crushed the last of the Nine Stars Valley's experts like a tide. Who could stop the tens of thousands of people? Countless rays of lightning-like light fell from the sky. The vast Bawang sect was a scene of slaughter. In the extremely dazzling battle of energy, everyone who participated in this battle to protect the sect fell into a frenzy of revenge. It was like the end of the world for the Bawang sect, thousands of miles of corpses, and the endless Red River. Today, the Bawang sect was destined to leave behind an exciting and bloody night in the Chaos region. But who knew if this shattered mountain was another form of rebirth for the Bawang sect? Countless martial artists who were fighting fiercely were fighting for the future of the Bawang sect in the Chaos region. Above their heads, the sky was scarlet and the light of the Emperor Sparrow's shadow was still flickering. Every martial artist who was fighting fiercely knew that this was the rebirth of the Bawang sect. It was the nirvana of the entire Chaos region. Under this soul-stirring and terrifying energy, the Bawang sect finally welcomed the setting sun. The Bawang sect quieted down amidst the clamor of the baleful aura. At this moment, the invasion of the Nine Stars Valley had completely failed. In the blood-red setting sun, the destructive energy was still sweeping through the heavens and earth. The thick smell of blood permeated the entire soil. Specks of stars hung in the sky above the Bawang sect. The moonlight was hazy, and the wails of the demonic beasts could be heard everywhere. On the Overlord's Square, many martial artists had already started to clean up the battlefield. Those who were severely injured also started to meditate. In the wilderness, a young girl was holding a luminous pearl in her hand and collecting all the remnant soul energy bit by bit. The vast energy of the primeval chaos ancient bell was like a bright light. After nightfall, near the god bell, a crisp roar resounded through the clouds. Boom! The sound was like the chanting of an ancient demonic god. The light in the sky was like the light of the moon, shining and dazzling. Then, the light dissipated. Su Yi, who had opened his eyes, suddenly stood up. He looked at the green light in the mountains with a heavy heart. These were probably the souls of the martial artists who had died. Sect Master, the Green Emperor, the Yin-Yang Two Nether Kings, and the other Beast Emperors rushed forward excitedly. At this moment, the injured disciples of the Bawang sect and the demonic beasts were all arranged to be treated. The 300 great beasts and the experts of the Chaos region gathered on the Overlord's Square, waiting for Su Yi to wake up. Beast Venerable. The 300 great beasts were in high spirits as they strode forward. Sect Master Su, King of Sky Prides. When the experts of the Chaos region saw that Su Yi had already recovered, countless shocked gazes gathered on Su Yi. Chapter 2239. Su Yi had turned the tide, and in such a short time, he was already as lively as a normal person? This was truly inconceivable. Today, the Bawang sect's chaos has been resolved perfectly, and it's all thanks to everyone. I, Su-yi, will never forget this kindness. Immediately, a representative from each of the 300 great demons and the chaos region walked out. The great demon cupped his fists at Su-yi and said, "Sect leader, what are you talking about? We are now part of the Bawang sect. What kindness is there to speak of?" The human martial artist nodded and bowed to the great demon. Then, he looked at Su-yi and said solemnly, "We have the same thoughts as the great demon king. Sect leader, now that you have achieved such a feat, why don't you take over the chaos region in one go? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." As soon as he said that, the Bawang sect stood up straight. Merciless West and Impermanence Fairy's eyes flickered as they waited for Su-yi's answer. Now, the chaos region was facing its biggest crisis in history. No one wanted to interfere in this unregulated region, and it was the best opportunity for the Bawang sect. Unifying the chaos region and becoming the true master of the chaos region? After that, Su-yi's reserve strength would be enhanced in the battle with the Long family. Under the bright moonlight, Su-yi's eyes were solemn. He waved his hand and a chilling aura shot out. He said loudly, "Let's not talk about this for now. First, follow me to do two things. The first thing is to wash the 9 Stars Valley with blood." After saying that, Su-yi's body surged with killing intent. The 9 Stars Valley had besieged the Bawang sect for more than a month, and had wiped out tens of thousands of Bawang sect disciples. Fortunately, the Green Emperor had gone to the extreme and was the first to transfer the core strength. Otherwise, the bloodline that they had painstakingly built would have been wasted. Today, the 9 Stars Valley had joined forces with the Immortal Sword sect, Divine Tiger sect, Sky Dragon sect, and Gemini sect to destroy the 10,000 Demons God refining formation and massacre the Bawang sect. Otherwise, with Chun Yao's ability, even if the refining god array was weakened, it was still not something he could touch. Although Chun Yao was dead, this grudge was still hard to be avenged. Therefore, before Su-yi took over the Chaos Realm, the first thing he did was to collect the debt that he owed them. Good. Kill all the 9 Stars Valley bandits. We must avenge the deaths of our fellow disciples from the Overlord sect. Shi Wuqing roared. His battle intent soared as he looked at Su-yi with approval. That's right. Let's kill our way into the 9 Stars Valley and let them have a taste of their own medicine. The bastards of the 9 Stars Valley should have been taught a lesson long ago. You traitor! They had a common enemy, and the flames of vengeance were like talismans that wrapped around everyone. Even at night, one could still see the blazing fighting spirit on their bodies. What about the second thing? Merciless West opened his wine gourd and took a big gulp of wine. His eyes were extremely clear, and there was a ghastly chill in them. Su-yi looked around and suddenly looked in the southwest direction. He said in a low voice, "There is another force that wants to unify the Chaos Realm. We have to ask them if they agree." Now, there were only a few second-rate forces left. The third-rate forces led by the Boundless Palace and the Purple Shadow Tower had surrendered to the Bawang sect. Among the first-rate forces, other than the Blood Sun sect, which was in cahoots with the 9 Stars Valley. Suddenly, countless pairs of eyes followed Su-yi and looked at the green forest in the distance. Wuchang Fairy's cold voice rang out. "The Tsangyun Palace." Su-yi curled his lips and looked into the distance. In his mind, he already had the image of the Blood Sun sect being devoured alive. That's right. The 9 Stars Valley besieged the Bawang sect, and the Blood Sun sect besieged the Tsangyun Palace. Now is the time for us to rescue them. The Blood Sun sect also had a blood feud with him. Since Baizun, Su-yi had wanted to annihilate the Blood Sun sect completely. The leader of the Blood Sun sect was probably killing everyone in the Tsangyun Palace. He would never have dreamed that a group of people would descend from the sky. Just thinking about it made him excited. "If you are willing," You can follow me to destroy the 9 Stars Valley first, and then kill the Blood Sun sect. The day of unifying the Chaos Realm is just around the corner, Sui ordered. His voice was as loud as Sanskrit and instantly filled the entire Bawang sect. Kill the 9 Stars Valley first, and then kill the Blood Sun sect. His voice shook the clouds. The eyes of the 300 big demons and the experts of the Chaos Realm lit up. Their fighting spirit was boiling like lava. After that, Sui and the Green Emperor took stock of their current combat strength. This time, there were more than 10,000 experts from the Chaos Realm who had come to support them. In the last bloody battle, they had lost more than 1,000 people. Based on a rough estimate, there were still 9,000 human warriors left. As for the 300 Great Fae, with their powerful combat strength, they were completely unharmed. There were still more than 200 disciples in the Bawang sect. Which sect in the Chaos Realm would not submit to such a force of 10,000 martial artists? Looking at the sky, Suyi's heart was burning with the flames of vengeance. He was furious. Heaven will punish you for your sins. In the end, Sui and the people of the Bawang sect built a cenotaph for Tang Wang at the place where Tang Wang and Situmuyang had sparred. Sui kept the corpse in a mysterious space and placed it properly. Elder Tang, you will definitely be annihilated in the 9 Stars Valley. Although Chunyao is annoying, the 9 Stars Valley is your favorite place to save money. I promise you that I will bring your corpse and soul back to your hometown. Immediately, Sui stood up and stared at Tang Wang's tombstone. His eyes were filled with loneliness. If Situmuyang was here, he would be so disappointed. Immediately, he shook his head. Suyi's eyes flashed and he said to the crowd behind him, "Let's go." Under the leadership of the Green Emperor and the others, Sui had his own space channel with the help of the Imperial Palace and the Demon Subduing Sect. Fortunately, when Chen Yao attacked, the passageway was still intact. "Let's go. I will lead the way. Sect Master, you only need to go forward." Lei Yunhe took the lead and flew towards the space channel. The vast and mighty crowd worked together as one. Countless pairs of eyes that were filled with vengeance, like ferocious eyes, rushed toward the space passage. Rumble! Within the Bawang sect, there were 2 space channels. One was led by Merciless West and the other by Lei Yunhe. Soon, the Bawang sect regained its peace. The remaining people, led by Nangong Ningyue, cleaned up the old mountains and rivers. Tens of thousands of figures were hidden in the tide-like army. Thunder Ceiling Valley was still covered in yellow sand and the stars in the sky were hazy. Most of the disciples of the 9 Stars Valley had gathered near Thunder Ceiling Valley. Everyone knew that Chen Yao had led the 9 Stars Valley's experts. The Bawang sect had killed Chen Yao. The nearby 9 Stars Valley must have heard about it. However, no one expected that the overwhelming number of Bawang sect's people would move so quickly. At this moment, the Bawang sect had broken through the 9 Stars Great Array and arrived in the sky above the 9 Stars Valley. When they saw the overwhelming number of experts covering the sky, all the disciples of the 9 Stars Valley had the same expression. They were stunned and their hearts palpitated. Chapter 2240. Raising his head and closing his eyes, Sui absorbed the energy of the 9 Stars Array. Looking at the terrified eyes below, he finally understood Chen Yao's state of mind at that time. The thrill of this kind of slaughter was indeed addictive. Anything that made one addicted to it was definitely not a good thing. After all, Sui was not Chen Yao. Even if he hated those from the 9 Stars Valley who were stained with blood. Just like Tang Wang, not everyone in the 9 Stars Valley was a bad person. Moreover, even if they killed mercilessly, they could not kill wantonly. The reason why the Chaos region was chaotic was that there were no rules and restrictions. Hatred and blood dominated this land. Everyone from the Bawang sect, listen up. Kill all those who dare to resist. Those who surrender are all under control. Now, search every area in the 9 Stars Valley. Leave no one alive. Su Yi's cold voice fell from the sky, like a heavenly judgment. Instantly, the demonic aura that swept over rushed down Lightning Valley. Rumble! The big demon was born, and thousands of beasts came out of the forest. Kill! Avenge our brothers who died. Avenge the people of the Chaos region. Suddenly, above the vast Thunder Valley, rolling thunder with an incomparably ferocious aura slowly spread out. Huge shadows of beasts appeared in front of the horrified eyes of the 9 Stars Valley people, and miserable screams sounded one after another. Looking at the miserable state of the 9 Stars Valley, anyone's soul would tremble. On the other side, a strange scene made Su Yi's eyes narrow. A demonic pearl floated in front of a young girl, and a fierce and violent black aura spread out. 2 deep eyes looked at the countless experts in the sky, making them tremble in fear. Her body was fluctuating with a dark and gloomy aura, and a large number of remnant souls and spirits shot out from the demonic pearl, aiming at the 9 Stars Valley disciples. Soon, countless remnant souls of the 9 Stars Valley disciples were attracted by the huge black soul traction, and they turned into strange arcs and rushed into the pearl. Feng Qi'er. Su Yi's eyes trembled. After returning to the Bawang sect, no one had seen her and had forgotten about her sister, Feng Qi'er. My disciple, the soul-nurturing pearl has come in handy. Otherwise, I don't know how to deal with all the remnant souls in the Bawang sect while you were recuperating. Merciless West looked at her beloved disciple's brilliant performance, and her eyes were full of certainty. Such a large collection of remnant souls would become a huge amount of terrifying energy. Sui couldn't help but nod his head. Back then in the Golden Rock mystic realm, the weak little girl had finally become strong. To her, the Overlord sect had been rebuilt from the Feng family village, so she probably had deeper feelings for it. To Feng Qi'er, these bloody battles could be the best opportunity in her life. At this moment, Sui looked at the situation in front of him. The 9 Stars Valley disciples would soon be completely subdued, and 50 to 60,000 disciples would all submit. It was shocking. Looking at the beautiful mountains and rivers, Sui immediately realized how huge the Bawang sect would be after unifying the Chaos realm. From now on, the Bawang sect would have to change its location. After Sui buried Tang Wang's corpse in Tang Wang's residence, Sui stood in the air and looked down at the blood that dyed the bamboo forest red. He only left behind a sentence: "Leave someone to guard it. Let's go. The Blue Cloud Hall is waiting for us." The Blue Cloud Hall was the most powerful force in the Chaos realm. Since the Tianfeng ranking tournament, Shi Susu had returned to the Blue Cloud Hall, and the entire Blue Cloud Hall had gone into seclusion. The Blue Cloud Hall no longer cared about the Chaos realm. But now, no one would have thought that they would encounter such a disaster. The formerly flourishing Blue Cloud Hall would now be shrouded in a thick and desolate sea of blood. From afar, the magnificent Blue Cloud Hall looked like it was crawling under the body of a huge scarlet demonic beast. The sea of blood glowed like gemstones as it stared at the sky, causing people to be intimidated. Chi La. In the sky, 2 pitch-black spatial cracks suddenly formed. Sui led everyone from the Bawang sect to the foot of the Blue Cloud Hall. Above the mountain range, a terrifying aura gathered in the sky and turned the sky red. The violent sea of blood floated in the clouds, and the earth-shattering energy caused people's hearts to palpitate. The Blood Sun sect is stronger than we thought. Merciless West narrowed her eyes and looked at the blood-like waves in the sky, burning the nearby mountains into nothingness. Seeing the surrounding space being shattered, Sui nodded, and a trace of light flashed in his eyes. The Blue Cloud Hall had always been the #1 sect in the Chaos realm. With their powerful strength, they thought that no one would dare to attack them. Now that the Blood Sun sect had attacked, they would definitely be at a loss. Above the Blue Cloud Hall, there would probably be a sea of blood and a mountain of corpses. Rumble! Above the mountain peak, lightning flashed, and a destructive aura descended between heaven and earth. The scarlet aura made everyone present solemn. Chen Yao has someone behind him, and the Blood Sun sect must also have an expert behind them. Su Yi's eyelids twitched, and he immediately said to Merciless West, "Big brother, take half of the forces and flank them from the back. I will go from the front. Wait for my command." The two of them understood, and Merciless West immediately used Yuan Qi transmission to give the order. The mighty crowd flew towards the other side of the mountain. Following the path of the Blue Cloud Hall, Su Yi's solemn heart deepened at the tragic scene in front of him. The terrifying smell of blood, the Blood Sun sect's cultivation technique, and the countless corpses on the Blood Fiend mountain path proved one thing. The Blue Cloud Hall's losses were extremely tragic. Compared to the Bawang sect, the Blue Cloud Hall's losses were even more immeasurable. 3/4 of the disciples below the Origin Emperor realm had already died. Such a tragic loss could only prove that the person behind the Blood Sun sect was far more powerful than the force behind Chen Yao. Who could it be? Is the Long family also here? Su Yi muttered in his heart. Wang Jinghui was from the Sky Dragon sect, and he was the strongest among the 4 who came to help the 9 Stars Valley. Then who was behind the Blood Sun sect? Suddenly, Su Yi's lips curled up, and a strong blazing aura surged in front of him. The Origin's supreme technique swept out like a storm, and he advanced at a rapid speed. When approaching the mountain gate of the Blue Cloud Hall, Su Yi signaled everyone behind him to hide their aura. Rumble! Billowing wind attribute Yuan Qi covered the sky as if it was covering the sun. The huge wind spirit Golden Emperor bird rushed into the sky, and Su Yi's eyes trembled for no reason. "It's Miss Shi's Yuan Qi manifestation." Su Yi frowned. Immediately, Su Yi restrained his aura, and used the Shadow Shuttle Pill and Cloud Shadow Treading Frost, and passed through the mountain gate in front of the Bawang sect people. Inside the mountain gate, the huge square of the Blue Cloud Hall was filled with people. The people of the Blue Cloud Hall were all paralyzed, and their auras were weak. On the other side, the Blood Sun sect was filled with bloody light, and the aura of decay was terrifying and powerful. Under everyone's gaze, a mysterious white wind spirit Golden Emperor bird wrapped around Shi Susu, and she was fighting with the martial artists in front of her. Chapter 2241. There were hundreds of powerhouses behind Shi Susu, including Xie Wushu. They were all severely injured. Judging from their dispirited faces, they seemed to have been poisoned by the Blood Sun sect's blood plague. "Come on, let's continue fighting. As long as you win, I'll let Xie Wushu go." A Blood Sun sect disciple crossed his arms and looked at Shi Susu proudly. "Bastard! Get rid of the blood poison in my body if you can." Shi Susu shook her head. The dizziness caused her aura to weaken. Pfft! Shi Susu spat out a mouthful of blood, and a red mist covered the sky. She looked miserable. "Aren't you the most talented woman in the Chaos region? You've never looked up to ordinary people like us. I didn't know you knew how to ask for help," the Blood Sun sect disciple said to Shi Susu. The Blood Sun sect leader and the other powerhouses behind him smiled knowingly. The Blood Sun sect only knows how to do despicable things. If the Green Cloud Hall can't take revenge today, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. A blue-robed elder appeared behind Shi Susu. He seemed to be the sect leader of the Green Cloud Hall, Jiao Aotian. "Jiao Aotian, you? The Blood Sun sect dared to come to your Green Cloud Hall today because we were fully prepared." In the sky above the Blood Sun sect, a man in a blood-red robe had a malicious look in his eyes. His level 8 Origin ancestor strength was completely unleashed. Suddenly, a blood-red light streaked across the sky like a dragon. The space along the way exploded into a blood-red light rain. Sizzle! The blood-red light rain was like a virus that corroded everything. It dripped onto the Green Cloud Hall members again. Jiao Aotian, Xie Wushu, and the rest screamed in pain. To be able to make an origin ancestor powerhouse lose control, this kind of power was enough to shock people. Bai Hen, stop! As the only fighting force, the wind spirit golden royal bird around Shirsusu was quickly surrounded by the blood-red light. Seeing that the Green Cloud Hall was in danger, the soul energy in her heart was suppressed. Ha ha! Does the blood plague taste good? The Blood Sun sect leader laughed wildly. His lips curled into a cold smile. A wave of blood energy surged out of his palm and aimed at Jiao Aotian's head. Bai Hen, leave this woman behind. Kill the rest. Chen Yao needs reinforcements. Suddenly, a young man standing behind Bai Hen stared at a blood-red mask with a trace of viciousness in his eyes. Hearing this, the wild Bai Hen's eyes narrowed, and he nodded solemnly at the young man behind him. Boom! With a loud bang, the void trembled. A blood-red vortex formed in front of Bai Hen above a large area of the void. In the depths of the vortex, countless crimson ferocious beasts were crawling and galloping, causing one's heart to tremble in fear. 10,000 beast blood sea. Jiao Aotian and Xie Wushu's eyes trembled at the same time. Xie Wushu shouted, Su Su, come back! Shirsusu was floating in the air. She raised her head and looked at the vast blood-colored storm. Shirsusu's heart trembled. This time, the Azure Cloud Hall was really going to be destroyed. Blood Sun sect, you'll die a horrible death. Everyone in the Blue Cloud Palace will be watching you. I'm ashamed to face the ancestors of Blue Cloud Hall. It's all my fault. The people of Blue Cloud Palace are not afraid. The Chaos region will not let you go for defecting to the enemy. Suddenly, all the powerhouses of the Blue Cloud Palace tried their best to set up a formation, but it was useless. They had already lost their combat ability due to the blood plague poison. Jiao Aotian and the rest were filled with grief and indignation. They looked at the sky in a daze, and their hearts were like dead ashes. Go to hell! Bai Hen rose high into the sky, and the powerhouses of the Blood Sun sect behind him shouted in unison. Their ferocious faces were filled with boundless murderous intent, and the visual impact was unparalleled. With a cold shout, the sound of blood exploding rang out like thunder. The blood-red vortex, which had reached its peak, turned into a storm and rushed toward the Blue Cloud Palace. Whoosh! At this moment, Bai Hen's eyes moved, and a terrifying cold energy giant hand rushed out of the vortex and grabbed at Shirsusu. Let's see who dares to touch the Blue Cloud Palace. Out of nowhere, a green phantom accompanied by flames flew out of the spatial ripples, and the surging ancient aura shook the heavens and the earth. The illusory figure of the Emperor Sparrow that suddenly appeared around the newcomer turned into boundless waves and collided with the blood-red sea giant hand. Bang! The moment everyone saw the divine bird spread its wings, their faces were filled with horror. The terrifying energy swept out in an instant, and even the blood-red clouds above the Blue Cloud Palace were torn apart. The surrounding spatial cracks collapsed inch by inch, and the destructive aura swept across the sky. GG. The boiling hot aura poured out like a sea of fire, and the illusory figure of the Emperor Sparrow, which was accompanied by the destructive aura, completely protected the people of the Blue Cloud Palace. Suddenly, the aura was domineering and absolute, and when the rolling aura dissipated between heaven and earth, the eyes of everyone in the Blood Sun sect turned completely serious. Sui. Shirsusu, who was being carried by Sui with one hand, looked at the familiar side of his face, and her eyes were filled with surprise. In an instant, they turned into endless splendor, and ripples kept appearing. Soon, Sui brought Shirsusu back to stand in front of the people of the Blue Cloud Palace. Bang bang bang! In a short moment, the huge, illusory figure of the Emperor Sparrow turned into a sonic boom and dissipated under the collision of the destructive blood waves. Immediately, Xie Wuxiu, who was behind him, looked at the back of the familiar green-robed figure. Like a god, his old eyes flashed with absolute brilliance. "Sect Master, we are saved! We are saved!" Xie Wuxiu was extremely excited. The blood at the corner of his mouth had not dried, but his heart was already beyond excited. Looking at the young man before him, Jiu Aotian's eyes were filled with fear. Even though he had been in the Origin Ancestor realm for many years, he had never seen such a shocking scene before. Who was this young man? He had actually repelled the Blood Sun Sect's 10,000 beast blood sea with his own strength, and he could still act as if nothing had happened? Everyone stared at the figure in the distance. The young man stood proudly, and his domineering flame aura seemed to be able to destroy all living things. A group of vampires. I was wondering what kind of ability you had. Wild laughter came from the young man's body, and the entire space shook and distorted with a bang. Su-Yi put Shirsusu down, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. He said to Shirsusu, "Quickly go to your master's side. Leave the rest to me." Shirsusu was silent. At this moment, she felt as if she was in a dream. In such a desperate situation, the young man in her heart had arrived on a divine bird. Any woman would be so excited that they would be speechless. Tears of excitement welled up in her eyes. Nodding, Shirsusu quickly retreated to Jiu Aotian's side. When Jiu Aotian found out about the young man's identity from Xie Wuxiu and Shirsusu, even he could not help but gasp. His eyes were wide open, and he could not regain his senses for a long time. On the opposite side, Bai Hen and the powerful cultivator who had been sent flying looked even more shocked. Fear floated out of their eyes. Hearing the thunderous laughter, the hearts of all the Blood Sun sect disciples palpitated. Who was this young man? How could he have such domineering strength? Chapter 2242. If it were not for the combination formation, it would have been impossible for Bai Hen to remain unscathed. Bai Hen's eyes trembled as he looked at the young man before him. He stared at Su-Yi and asked coldly, "Who are you, kid?" Within the flames, Su-Yi's eyes darkened as he asked coldly, "Who is your father?" The sudden question puzzled Bai Hen, and he followed Su-Yi's train of thought. Bai Hen looked at Su-Yi's Emperor Sparrow's silhouette and panicked. He asked doubtfully, Who is my father?" "My good son, you don't even recognize your father? Let me tell you, your father is Su-Yi." A terrifying aura swept out. Suddenly, Su-Yi's body expanded as his killing intent soared. Su-Yi stared at Bai Hen and the thousands of Blood Sun Sect's experts in the sky. His powerful and scorching aura made everyone tremble. Seeing this, Bai Hen and the rest of the experts' hearts raced as they quickly retreated. "Arrogant kid! You're Su-Yi." Bai Hen's face turned red as his killing intent soared. Instantly, the blood-red wheel behind him rose like a river. Boom! Without waiting for Bai Hen to speak, the masked young man on the blood-red relief rushed forward as a burst of 8th-level Origin Ancestor strength burst out. Ferocious demonic beast Origin Chi surged out as demonic aura soared into the sky. "You're Su-Yi," the young man shouted as if he was facing a mortal enemy. The ferocious soul suppression around him firmly locked onto Su-Yi. When he was secretly observing earlier, Su-Yi could tell that the Yuan domain stage experts behind him were all obedient. This young man's background was definitely extraordinary. Su-Yi did not think that the Immortal Sword sect and Gemini sect had such great power. Su-Yi did not move as he smirked and asked coldly, "Are you from the Sky Dragon sect or the Divine Tiger sect?" Su-Yi would kill anyone from the Sky Dragon sect, but Su-Yi would kill anyone from the Divine Tiger sect to his heart's content. "Ku!" A resonant phoenix cry rang out from behind Su-Yi. Killing intent surged as Su-Yi's entire body turned golden red. The aura of death quickly rose into the air. Su-Yi looked at the man in the relief sculpture, a cold light overflowing from the corners of his mouth. Shangguan Shenjua is my younger brother. Do you remember? The young man pulled off his mask. Indeed, his face was somewhat similar to Shangguan Shenjua's. Su-yi sneered. It turned out that he was here to avenge his brother. What do you want? Do you think your brother isn't miserable enough? Su-yi raised his eyebrows, as if he didn't put Shangguan Tianjua in his eyes at all. Arrogant brat, why are you here? Could it be Elder Bai Zun? Bai Hen cried out involuntarily, a look of disbelief on his face. When they saw Su-yi nodding his head, Bai Hen and the other Blood Sun sect disciples sucked in a breath of cold air. This time, Bai Zun and Hong Qianlung's main purpose was to capture Su-yi alive. Unexpectedly? Good, you are very smart. Su-yi raised his sword-like eyebrows, forming a cold arc. Chen Yao is also dead. Why don't you go and be buried with him? Could this be true? Everyone was shocked, and gasps could be heard continuously. Bai Zun and Chen Yao were both killed by Su-yi? How could this be? That was a group of 5,000 people, and there were countless experts among them. Suddenly Bai Hen sneered. All the Blood Sun sect disciples laughed and shook their heads in disbelief. Su-yi, have you lost your mind? Do you think you can boast just because your cultivation has improved? Brat, if you want to die, I can fulfill your wish. Su-yi, the debt between you and our Blood Sun sect should be settled today. The Blood Sun sect disciples quickly regained their composure and mocked and ridiculed him incessantly. They believed that Su-yi had the ability and courage to barge into the Green Cloud Hall alone. But he definitely didn't have the ability to kill 5,000 people alone. Moreover, it was a terrifying army with half of the Origin sect's origin emperors. Suddenly, Shangguan Tianjua waved his hand and suppressed the clamor. The huge white divine tiger behind him loftily stood in the world. A valiant aura that had never been seen before soared into the sky, and the surrounding space began to fluctuate. Su-yi, I came to the Chaos region this time to avenge my brother. Whether you killed Bai Zun and Chen Yao or not, today is the day you die. Shangguan Tianjua said coldly. Roar. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, 4 divine tiger sects origin domain experts followed behind Shangguan Tianjua. Bestial roars echoed as the sea of blood roiled. 4 gigantic divine tigers roared, and in an instant, the entire blood-red world began to ripple with an endless amount of energy. Feeling that astonishing power, the souls of all the martial artists in the sky trembled. Instantly, Bai Hen was overjoyed. With the Divine Tiger sect supervising the battle, the entire Green Cloud Hall would die. Su-yi would also disappear from the Chaos region. What a powerful aura! The reason why the Divine Tiger sect didn't make a move was because they were waiting for Su-yi. Zhou Outyan and Xie Wuxu were shocked. To them, fighting with the Blood Sun sect to this extent was already not easy. If not for Su-yi's arrival, the Green Cloud Hall wouldn't have known that the Divine Tiger sect's aura was so terrifying. If the Divine Tiger sect had made a move from the beginning, the Green Cloud Hall would have been destroyed. The dense Divine Tiger aura was vast and ferocious, like a crushing pressure from the depths of one's soul. The hearts of the Green Cloud Hall experts trembled, their eyes filled with shock. Sect Master Su, the Green Cloud Hall and the Chaos region are in great trouble today. We can't implicate you. Zhou Outyan shouted himself hoarse. Xie Wuxu's sluggish face also revealed a trace of fear. He then pulled Shi Su and said, The Divine Tiger sect came prepared today. Sect Master Su, we will help you leave. We must leave some hope for the Chaos region tomorrow. Seeing that Su-yi didn't reply, Xie Wuxu's heart became even more anxious. Elder Xie, Elder Tang is dead. Su-yi said sadly. Suddenly Xie Wuxu was stunned. Then, his hoarse voice floated out as he looked up to the sky and sighed. Then you can't take the risk. The entire Green Cloud Hall is in seclusion and doesn't care about the world. The Green Cloud Hall didn't abide by the wartime agreement. You don't have to worry about us today. After saying this, the people of the Green Cloud Hall were furious. Their heroic spirit and hot blood were ignited at this moment. That's right, the Green Cloud Hall would definitely die in this situation. As the king of geniuses, Sui had conquered everyone with one move. They couldn't let such a talent ruin his great future. Immediately, everyone's eyes were fixed on the divine tiger aura. Their eyes were filled with the desire to die. Even if they died today, they had to rush out some hope. Sui, you will die. Sure, Susu's eyes trembled as she looked at Sui standing proudly in the divine aura. Hot tears floated out of her eyes. Die, Sui, I will make you regret being born in this world. Shangguan Tianzhua roared. A terrifying aura surged out like a tsunami. Soon after, Sui turned his head. The corner of Sui's mouth moved slightly. His hand once again pointed to the horizon. The Emperor Sparrow's phantom hovered in the air. Everyone stopped in their tracks. With your words, I will protect the Green Cloud Hall today. Ka. A crisp sound rang out. A flaming light beam carrying a terrifying pressure pierced through the air and rushed to the sky. The sound of energy resounded through the clouds. Within the flaming light, Sui, who looked like a god, faintly looked at Shen Hu and the others. He said coldly, "How do you know that I didn't come prepared?" Chapter 2243. GG. As Su Yi's last word fell, the cry of a phoenix pierced through the clouds. The heavenly might of a supreme demon venerable swept through the heavens and earth. Bright and blazing flames were incomparably fierce, occupying the void and resisting the blood-sea sky. Rumble! Thousands of cultivators flew out from within. The sound of their footsteps was like the sound of iron hooves rushing over. The boundless sky trembled endlessly. From afar, the terrifying commotion suddenly attracted the attention of everyone present. The vast and mighty energy of heaven and earth gathered crazily, and the commotion was like rolling waves. In an instant, the figures of 4,000 front mountain cultivators passed through the void and descended into the world. Accompanied by the thunderous roars of beasts, the entire blood-sea sky trembled. The black mass of cultivators covered the sky and covered the earth. Their sharp eyes were like the stars in the sky, crawling in the sky, straight towards the Blood Sun sect. At this time, the Blood Sun sect disciples felt a dense and majestic aura. This made them have no choice but to take the situation seriously. Why did so many people suddenly come? Could it be? Who are these people? And these great demons? My God, did they move the entire Chaos region here? Countless shocked faces froze on the spot. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. Everyone stared blankly at Sui. Impossible, where did this earth-shattering momentum come from? 4,000 cultivators and over 100 great demons. Bai Hen's gaze became serious. Bai Hen knew that today was an important opportunity for the Blood Sun sect to annex the Blue Cloud Hall. They definitely could not fail miserably. Looking at the divine tiger phantom in the distance, Bai Hen's face was ashen, and killing intent surged. Master, did you see that? Sui is really here to save us. Sure, Susu's gaze focused, and a strange light flashed in her eyes as she spoke loudly. I saw it. The Blue Cloud Hall can fight now. Xie Wushu's face was flushed red. He nodded excitedly at Jiu Aotian and said, Sect Master, this old man has long said that Sui is extraordinary. Our Blue Cloud Hall can really turn danger into safety this time. Jiu Aotian had a heavy smile on his face as he gazed at Sui's enormous might that could destroy the heavens and the earth with a raise of his hand. A wisp of wild joy gushed out from the corners of his eyes as he laughed heartily. The Blue Cloud Hall is truly fortunate to have such an ally. Heaven blessed Songyun. master of the Chaos region. On the other side, Shangguan Tianjua's eyes trembled as he looked at the frenzied crowd. He did not think that Su Yi was actually hiding so many martial artists. The corner of Shangguan Tianjua's mouth twitched slightly. Thinking about it, no one would come alone. Looking around, Shangguan Tianjua's face relaxed. Aside from the 100 great beasts, the other cultivators' cultivation was uneven. What kind of atmosphere would such a team have? This time, the Long family had brought the 6 violent fiend pills to fully equip the martial practitioners of the 9 Stars Valley and the Blood Sun sect. Compared to the 9 Stars Valley, the Blood Sun sect was even more powerful. What was there to be afraid of? Soon, Shangguan Tianjua calmed down from his shock. Su Yi, you've brought a lot of shrimp soldiers and crab generals. Do you think you're qualified to talk to me with this? Shangguan Tianjua's eyes flashed coldly as a terrifying bestial killing intent spread out. That's right. Su Yi, arrogant brat. Do you think you can destroy the Blood Sun sect's plan just because you say so? Bai Hen sneered. The reason he added this sentence was to express his attitude to the Divine Tiger sect. No matter how much power Su Yi had today, the Blood Sun sect and the Divine Tiger sect would fight side by side and each take what they needed. Su Yi still has us behind him. The crowd behind him shouted. Jiu Ao Tian and Xia Wushu had already stood up. Even if the martial practitioners who came were not strong enough, the Blue Cloud Hall had the confidence and preparation to fight to the death. If Su Yi supported them, the Blue Cloud Hall would not be willing to fall behind. Hundreds of people from the Blue Cloud Hall stood up and glared fiercely, burning their last fierce aura. Shi Susu also stood beside Su Yi. Looking at Su Yi, she whispered, "The Blue Cloud Hall will live and die together. I'm not afraid." Su Yi smiled lightly and twisted his neck slightly. In his eyes, Shangguan Tianjua and Bai Hen were like 2 clowns. Then, Su Yi smacked his lips and said with a sigh, "It's these shrimp soldiers and crab generals that you look down on that destroyed the 9 Stars Valley and killed Qin Yao. Are you angry?" "You!" Bai Hen, who had touched his sore spot, glared fiercely and his killing intent suddenly rose. "I don't care how many people you have. I'll let you taste the Blood Sun sect's blood plague poison. I'll make you all dead." With a flash of bloody light, the hands of the 1,000 disciples of the Blood Sun sect behind him surged with an evil red light. The power was fierce and boundless. The ethereal red light gradually condensed into the shape of skeletons in front of them, like a scorching sea of blood that was going to devour everyone. The sea of blood surged, and from time to time, horrifying sounds came from it. It was like the howling of ghosts mixed with the blood, making people's scalps tingle and their backs break out in cold sweat. The red sea of blood was filled with the sound of bones exploding. The blazing aura seemed to be able to penetrate one's divine soul. Su Yi, that's the blood plague poison. The secret of the Blood Sun sect. If it weren't for this, the Blue Cloud Hall wouldn't have lost so quickly. Shi Susu said coldly as she looked at the thousands of skeletons in front of her. "We'll deal with whatever comes our way. I'd like to see how much blood plague poison he has." Su Yi stared ahead and said lightly. Suddenly, a fierce flame formed in Su Yi's hand. The flame flickered and swayed and rushed into the blood-red sky again. Rumble! A monstrous power pierced through space once again. There were more savage beasts and warriors than the warriors in front of them. It can't be. Why are there still people? Another large group of warriors? Where did they come from? Heavens! 200 great demons have appeared. What's going on today? At this moment, the Blue Cloud Hall and the Blood Sun sect were no longer calm. The Blood Sun sect people controlled the blood-clothed skeletons, and their eyes were filled with shock. On the contrary, on the Blue Cloud Hall's side, hundreds of warriors roared excitedly, as if victory was already in their pockets. Heavens! Shi Susu muttered, and was quickly attracted by the wild laughter in the sky. "Kid, you made me wait too anxiously. Why, I heard that someone thinks we don't have enough people. Is this enough?" Merciless West led the way, her eyes filled with disdain and coldness. When Merciless West and Su Yi's eyes met, a light that only the two of them understood flashed. Bai Hen and Shangguan Tianjua stopped talking, their malicious eyes flickering. Bai Hen immediately sent a Yuan Qi transmission. "Young master, what should we do now? There are at least 10,000 warriors now. I'm afraid that the Chaos region has already surrendered to Su Yi." The Yuan domain experts behind him were also hesitant. They whispered to each other, "Bai Zun and Chen Yao's plan is ruined. We can't explain it to our superiors. Young master, why don't we give up today? Go back and discuss it with the Eternal Tiger Sect master?" Chapter 2244. One side was allowing him to attack, the other side was not allowing him to attack. Shangguan Tianjua's face darkened as he pursed his lips tightly. Su Yi had unknowingly stood next to Merciless West, a trace of coldness rising between his brows. "Do you still have the qualifications to look up to me after clamoring for revenge for your brother?" Shangguan Tianjua's killing intent suddenly burst forth. Su Yi was simply too much. "Since you want to die so much, I'll send you to the afterlife." Shangguan Tianjua snorted coldly. Shangguan Tianjua turned to look at Bai Zun and the Origin Domain cultivators as he stared at the panicked crowd. Shangguan Tianjua's meaning was clear. This time, he had come for revenge. Shangguan Tianjua's lifetime of cultivation had been destroyed by Su Yi. Now that Su Yi was standing in front of him, how could he not kill him? Such arrogance, such disrespect for the Divine Tiger Sect, how could he let it go? Shangguan Tianjua's eyes were wide with anger as he coldly looked around and stared at the 4 Yuan domain cultivators. "If father knew that you encountered Su Yi and still managed to escape, do you think you'll be able to live?" Now that they were stuck between a rock and a hard place, the 4 Yuan domain experts looked at Shangguan Tianjua with solemn gazes as they spoke in a sinister tone. "We'll listen to young master." At the side, Bai Hen revealed an indiscernible evil smile. As long as the Divine Tiger Sect moved, there was no reason for the Blood Sun Sect to fail today. He was not an idiot like Chen Yao, who could besiege a third-rate Bawang sect and fail. "Young master, this one is willing to charge." Bai Hen cupped his hands and nodded. He immediately looked up at the dense crowd of cultivators in the sky. "Su Yi, today, I'll let you know that the Blood Sun Sect is not an existence you can provoke." After saying this, Bai Hen roared as a bloody light wrapped around his palm, as if it could corrode all matter and refine all Yuan spirits. "Everlasting blood plague!" Thousands of Blood Sun Sect disciples followed closely behind Bai Hen and lined up in a row. Their actions were exactly the same as Bai Hen's, their hands pushed forward, bloody light ferocious. Awo! The light of the thousands of small blood-colored skeletons merged together, and a towering and strange bloody aura filled the air. All of a sudden, a gigantic skeleton that was comparable to any ferocious beast in the world broke through the heavens and earth and occupied the sky. Chi La. More than 100 arms suddenly stretched out from the skeleton. Blood veins flowed and a stench swept through the void. What powerful strength! Jiu Ao Tian and Xie Wu Su looked at each other, their hearts filled with shock. "I've never seen such a powerful move from the Blood Sun Sect. How long has the Blood Sun Sect been planning for this day?" Xie Wushu's eyes flickered as his mouth opened slightly. The terrifying scene in front of them made everyone's hearts beat wildly. Just this invincible skeleton was enough to extinguish the flames of resistance of Blue Cloud Hall. At this moment, Su Yi had already sent Shi Susu back to Xie Wushu's side. Looking at Su Yi standing proudly in front of her, Shi Susu was stunned. "Su Yi, Can you still create a miracle? Sure, Susu was a little scared. In the next second, more than 100 blood-colored ribbons shot out from the skeleton's palm. The bloody web was demonic and filled with killing intent. Su-yi die. Bai Hen laughed wildly. Since this move was used, Su-yi would definitely die. Bang! The thick blood-colored ribbons shot out like lightning and condensed into a giant blood ball around Su-yi. Everyone's eyes were fixed on this moment. What? Su-yi. At this moment, everyone's eyes suddenly trembled. Su-yi did not have time to react before the blood ball formed in front of him. This disastrous scene made sure Susu and the others almost faint. At this moment, the 10,000 martial artists were led by Merciless West. Behind her, countless martial artists were shouting. Only Merciless West looked indifferent, as if she thought that Su-yi had already thought of this. Ha ha! Kill the people of the Blood Sun sect. Leave no one alive. Immediately, the blood ball was controlled by Bai Hen. Ripples spread out in the air. The Blood Sun sect disciples behind him were filled with confidence. They withdrew from the blood plague and blasted the martial artists in the sky with blood-colored light. Boom! The blood-red blood chi rolled and rolled. A small number of martial artists resisted the blood-colored attack. All kinds of origin chi light swept across the sky. In an instant, the sky and the ground were in chaos. The Ash Cloud Hall side was full of worry. Su-yi was surrounded, which made Zhou Aotian and Xia Wushu panic. On the other hand, Shangguan Tianjua's side was solemn and puzzled. Was this the legendary person who crippled his younger brother? Even if the blood plague was comparable to a martial artist in the 8th or 9th stage of the demon realm, would Su-yi be so stupid as to not block it? Soon, Bai Hen's arrogant smile filled his face. Su-yi was in his hands. He did not have any doubts and turned to look at Shangguan Tianjua. Young master, Su-yi is dead. My Blood Sun sect caught him. Shangguan Tianjua sneered and raised his chin at the blood ball in front of Bai Hen. When Bai Hen turned to look, his eyes instantly froze. Rumble! The blood-colored light ball suddenly vibrated. A wild and desolate ancient aura spread out from the ball. An indescribable mystery made Bai Hen scream in his heart. Gurgle! Gurgle! In the blood ball, the blood was boiling rapidly. The jumping bubbles shocked Bai Hen. Bai Hen felt a sharp pain in his head as an unparalleled pressure pressed down on his mind. Ah! Bai Hen screamed. At this time, Shangguan Tianjua also began to release origin chi and looked at the blood ball with a heavy gaze. I thought the Blood Sun sect was powerful. Big brother, do it. I won't take the initiative to break it. In the blood ball, a calm voice slowly fell. It was like the voice of a god floating down to the mortal world. It's Su-yi. Sure, Susu's eyes lit up. Her eyes were filled with excitement. At this time, the people of Blue Cloud Hall finally heaved a sigh of relief. Xia Wushu shook his head and smiled bitterly. No one could ever guess Su-yi's path. In the sky, Merciless West's eyes flickered. A vigorous origin chi rushed to the ground. She shouted, "Come out! Feng Qi-er!" Rumble! Merciless West's strange actions attracted everyone's attention. Countless cold and ferocious ghost howls broke out from the ground. It's a remnant soul! Shangguan Tianjua shouted. Oh no! In an instant, countless remnant souls surged with black light. As if they had seen their prey, they quickly filled the bodies of the Blood Sun sect martial artists who were covered in blood. Bloody killing, just like in ancient times. The dark souls turned into shadows that covered the bodies of the Blood Sun sect disciples. Every Blood Sun sect disciple had at least 3 or 4 remnant souls crawling on their bodies. Like a hurricane, the Blood Sun sect disciples were like withered leaves that had been sucked dry of their blood essence. They fell one after another under the fierce remnant soul army. Miserable shrieks and howls, the killing intent was fierce. No matter what kind of Blood Sun sect disciple you were, in front of such a terrifying power, your courage was reduced by a bit. Chapter 2245. The shadow of death loomed over them, and an endless amount of blood filled their vision. Merciless West finally exploded with unparalleled killing intent. He roared, "Everyone, kill! Kill everyone from the Blood Sun sect!" Roar. From this moment on, the Green Cloud Hall and all the cultivators moved in full force. The violent and bloody aura of killing turned into a storm that spread between heaven and earth. Seeing the Blood Sun sect disciples fall one, Bai Hen was completely terrified. The bloody light in his hand trembled violently as he shouted, "How is this possible? Where did so many remnant souls come from?" Boom! In an instant, the bloody light ball finally collapsed completely after the Blood Sun sect disciples fell. The crimson-black blood turned into blood arrows that shot into the sky. Amidst the dazzling red light, Su Yi's body was surrounded by a ring of hazy holy light. He slowly walked out like a god and looked coldly at Bai Hen. "Open your dog eyes. These are the innocent souls of the Chaos region that you killed, and the people from the 9 Stars Valley that I killed." "What?" Seeing the endless black souls on the ground flying before their eyes, the Blood Sun sect disciples were instantly torn apart, their bones and flesh separated. Bai Zun's eyes finally began to panic. The endless black shadows and the light of cultivators crazily spread across the sky. At this moment, Bai Hen seemed to have seen all sorts of demons and monsters devouring heaven and earth. The Blood Sun sect seemed to be about to lose. At the same time, Bai Hen's strength was finally unable to support the terrifying Blood Sun sect. Bang! Suddenly, the bloody light ball exploded. The entire world seemed to be tightly grasped by a large hand and shook violently. Within the mountains and peaks, the blood-colored skeleton's loud roar resounded. The collapsing bloody light ball instantly dispersed. The dazzling blood-red light crazily dispersed, and a tremendous force wrapped in an extremely vicious energy struck Bai Hen's body. Then, almost the entire space trembled violently. A terrifying shockwave spread out, and the void shook uncontrollably. Bai Hen's body shot out like an arrow and instantly rushed into the mountain peak. He drew a straight line in the air and no longer moved. The endless black remnant soul's energy spread wildly, and a large number of Blood Sun sect disciples were suddenly killed. Many of the surrounding mountains were also instantly turned into dust and dissipated under this earth-shattering attack. "Young master, the situation is hopeless. Bai Hen is dead. Let's return to the Divine Tiger sect first." The 4 Yuan domain experts roared as they looked around. How could they still see the figures of the Blood Sun sect's disciples? Despite the panic in his heart, Shangguan Tianjue stared at the figure in the bloody light and coldly said, "If you want to leave, then leave. I want to kill him first." Bang! Shangguan Tianjue's figure pierced through the air, and the white divine tiger behind him condensed into a huge beast shadow that charged towards Su Yi. "Su Yi, since that's the case, you're dead for sure. No one will be able to save you." Shangguan Tianjue glared at Su Yi, his eyes filled with killing intent. "Kill!" The tiger's paw tore through the sky as a ferocious tiger's roar shattered mountains and rivers. The Yuan domain stage experts behind him immediately shouted when they saw the chaotic situation. "Let's fight. If something happens to young sect master, we won't be able to live either." Suddenly, the 4 terrifying energies condensed into a tiger's roar that shook the heavens. 5 white big tigers' radiance flowed with countless Taoist rhymes. It was extremely terrifying. "Su Yi, we're here to help you." Merciless West roared like a bell. There were only 100 or so Blood Sun sect disciples left, and they could all be handed over to Ash Cloud Palace. 10,000 cultivators, 300 great demons, and countless remnant souls rushed over and directly clashed with the 3 Yuan domain stage experts. Roar! Boundless killing intent flowed through the void. The powerful pressure that permeated the heavens was like a mountain range, making it hard for people to breathe. On the other side, The two white tigers were already entangled with Su-yi, and the terrifying power was vast and mighty. GG. At this moment, Su-yi, who was going all out, had also fully activated the Origin Supreme technique, and a brazen and desolate aura poured out crazily. At this moment, countless flames spiraled up like fire dragons, swallowing and spitting out. The Emperor Sparrow's shadow once again gathered behind Su-yi. The Divine Tiger sect also had the bloodline of an ancient demon beast, so Su-yi naturally would not be careless. The demon Venerable's aura covered the sky and covered the earth. The Emperor Sparrow spread its wings and flew, and the blazing sea of flames quickly collapsed in front of it. Divine birds and fierce tigers, vast and mighty, fought with pure energy, causing them to quickly soar into the sky. Within the Emperor Sparrow's shadow, Su-yi's eyes were glaring scarlet as he spoke to Shangguan Tianjua. You shouldn't have come to the Chaos region. You shouldn't have sinned for the Long family. After saying that, Shangguan Tianjua, who was getting more and more frightened, finally realized how terrifying Su-yi was. After Su-yi's cultivation had merged with the Emperor Sparrow, it had increased by leaps and bounds. Looking at the desolate aura of the demon Venerable descending, Shangguan Tianjua felt as if his body was about to explode, and his soul was also shaking. Not good. What a terrifying aura! Send the young master back with all our might. The strongest Yuan domain expert behind him, the Divine Tiger Realm expert, narrowed his eyes as he looked at the rising temperature in front of him. The abnormally scorching temperature made him feel utter despair. Just as he was about to open a spatial tunnel, a cold voice rang out from the flames. Since you're already here, there's no need for you to leave. Accompany the 9 Stars Valley's people. What? Shangguan Tianjua and the Yuan domain expert's eyes trembled, as if they were about to burst out with light. Desolate heavenly star, open! Suddenly, the Emperor Sparrow's shadow in front of Su-yi was as red as blood, and a completely different aura than before suddenly appeared. It was like an endless purgatory's radiance, causing Su-yi's battle intent to soar. At this time, Shangguan Tianjua and the Yuan domain experts' hearts were already in their throats, and they had already forgotten about the scorching pain in their bodies. Only now did they realize that Su-yi was strong. So strong that it made one's hair stand on end. This sudden increase in cultivation made Shangguan Tianjua completely understand why Su-yi was able to become Heavenly Wind's #1. Within the same realm, Su-yi was already invincible. Very quickly, the terrifying Emperor Sparrow's divine flames took shape once again, and a blood-red radiance surged in front of Shangguan Tianjua and the Yuan domain expert like an ocean. Retreat. Before his voice even faded, the terrifying flames had already spread out, and Shangguan Tianjua's fate was already foreshadowed. Space warped in various places, and ripples appeared like liquid, burning the entire blood-red sky until it was clear. Chi-la. 2 pitch-black figures were directly burned into powder, turning into pitch-black ashes that rained down from the sky. With the Emperor Sparrow in the sky, Su-yi, who still had some strength left, looked at the surroundings like a god looking down on all living beings. Under the radiance, 2 of the 3 Yuan domain experts were still resisting, and a domineering and majestic voice once again swept through the sky. Chapter 2246. Everyone, back off. I'll kill them. Suddenly, their eyelids twitched. The 300 great demons, over 10,000 cultivators, and the Blue Cloud Hall members all stopped and watched as the fierce Emperor Sparrow's divine flames shot down from the sky. The dazzling and terrifying flames suddenly descended. The Yuan domain experts, who had been tortured until they were on their last breaths, could only watch as the flames attacked them. Ah! Their screams turned into ghastly howls as they melted in the scarlet divine flames. The 2 Yuan domain experts were ultimately burned into nothingness. The Emperor's sparrow screeched as divine light surged. Everyone present was startled awake. Everything had been so simple in Su Yi's plan. Step by step, from splitting up, ambushing the remnant souls, and finally destroying the world with the Emperor's sparrow, everything had been within Su Yi's calculations. So powerful! Su Yi is actually so powerful. The Emperor's sparrow, that's the legendary Emperor's sparrow. This flame is enough to suppress all things. The genius Wang is invincible. The Bawang sect is unparalleled. Everyone's eyes trembled fiercely as they looked at Su Yi with shock in their eyes. In this battle, Su Yi's strength had finally been revealed to everyone. Boom! The majestic demon venerable aura surged in the air before it was completely withdrawn into Su Yi's body. Divine light lingered as Su Yi descended with his hands behind his back. His gaze was stern, and he had the bearing of a grandmaster. Su Yi. Sect Master Su. The Bawang sect members stood in rows and surrounded the void while the Blue Cloud Hall members rushed forward. At this moment, Xie Wushu and the rest once again looked at Su Yi, who was radiating with holy light. Their minds were replaying the scene of Su Yi killing a god. The tyrannical power was still lingering in the air. Shortly after, the Blue Cloud Hall members involuntarily knelt down and bowed their heads as they shouted, "Thank you for saving our lives, Sect Master Su." The Blue Cloud Hall's crisis was finally resolved. Zhou Outyan was the first to shout emotionally to Su Yi. Instantly, this scene caused the hearts of everyone present to tremble. Blue Cloud Hall had not helped the Bawang sect in the slightest, but the Bawang sect had repaid evil with good. Not only did he extend a helping hand at the most critical time, he even used thunderous methods to resolve the calamity of Blue Cloud Hall's sect extermination. In the entire Chaos region, perhaps only Su Yi was capable of such a feat. To this day, including the 9 proud heavens, no one thought of Su Yi as an ordinary young martial artist. Su Yi already had the magnanimity of someone who had reached the peak of Heaven Berserker realm. Her gaze trembling fiercely, Sure Susu stood beside Xie Wushu, her gaze rippling, her eyes filled with gratitude, and even more so, boundless reverence. "Get up quickly." 9th Sect Master, you and I are allies, there's no need to be so polite. Su Yi quickly retracted his aura, and a vast sound wave swept through the world, shaking the minds of those who heard it. Sect Master Su, you have such magnanimity. Blue Cloud Hall is willing to be friends with you for life. Zhou Outyan was extremely grateful, but he did not expect Su Yi to not care at all. Looking at Su Yi, the Blue Cloud Hall's people were once again filled with excitement. Su Yi, 9th Sect Master, the people of the Blood Sun Sect have been completely annihilated. Merciless West led Feng Qi to the front of everyone and reported the battle situation. Immediately, Su Yi smiled slightly, looked at Feng Qi and nodded with gratification. This time, Feng Qi's Calamity Qi Poison Soul had been a great help. Although it was not difficult for him to destroy Bai Hen's infinite blood plague, with Shangguan Tianjua and the Yuan Domain Realm experts around, it would not be so easy for Su Yi to defeat them after expending so much energy. An eye for an eye, this was the best outcome. This is my sister, Feng Qi. She was the one who activated the Great Remnant Soul Array. Su Yi's eyes were full of praise. Immediately, the eyes of the Blue Cloud Hall's people lit up, and their eyes were filled with admiration and expectation. They all bowed deeply to Feng Qi. In the Battle of Blue Cloud Hall, the Blood Sun Sect had been held back by the remnant souls, and this had allowed the entire Blue Cloud Hall to feel relieved. Feng Qi was naturally worthy of this bow. Suddenly, Feng Qi blushed and stood obediently behind Su Yi. She said softly, "Brother, I finally have my own value." Thinking back to the day in the Golden Rock Mystery Realm, when Feng Qi's inner demons were difficult to dispel, Su Yi was naturally happy that she was able to shine today. Immediately after, Su-yi patted Feng Qi'er's shoulder and said to the ninth sect master, "Now that the Chaos Zone is basically over, what is Blue Cloud Hall's plan?" Hearing this, the faces of the Blue Cloud Hall's people suddenly turned solemn. The top three forces had killed each other, and Blue Cloud Hall, which had stayed out of it, had been destroyed. No matter what, Blue Cloud Hall could not take this lying down. "Sect Master Su, I have a presumptuous request." As he spoke, Jiao Tian pulled Xia Wushu and was about to continue kneeling. Immediately, the eyes of the Blue Cloud Hall's people were filled with hope. Seeing this, Su-yi immediately said, "You want to continue destroying the Blood Sun sect?" Jiao Tian nodded painfully and said seriously, "Blue Cloud Hall has always been tolerant of Nine Star Valley and the Blood Sun sect. However, I don't have the heart to kill them, but they want to kill me." "Yes, Sect Master Su, Blue Cloud Hall's vitality is now severely injured. We have no other thoughts for now, and we only want to kill the Blood Sun sect. Let them have a taste of being destroyed. Sect Master Su, please grant us our wish. The Blood Sun sect will not die. Blue Cloud Hall cannot take this lying down." The crowd was agitated, and every injured Blue Cloud Hall expert had a stern and incomparably indignant look on their faces. Su-yi. Sure, Susu's gaze was a little serious. She naturally knew the actual situation of Blue Cloud Hall. Su-yi had turned the tide, killed Chen Yao, saved the Bawang sect, and rushed thousands of miles to Blue Cloud Hall to save everyone. Now, the hatred between the Blood Sun sect and Blue Cloud Hall was as deep as the ocean. Would Su-yi continue to help Blue Cloud Hall after such a great favor? Looking at so many Blue Cloud Hall experts in front of him, Su-yi's heart was filled with pride, and his blood rushed to the top of his head. He turned around and exchanged glances with Merciless West. Su-yi's gaze moved slightly, and he looked at Jiao Tian. The Blood Sun sect and the Bawang sect also have new and old grudges. However, the Blood Sun sect and Nine Star Valley colluded with the Brahma Dragon Palace, and you want to kill them all. Are you prepared to fall out with the Long family? Jiao Tian and Xia Wushu's gazes suddenly trembled. How could they not know about the Brahma Dragon's Celestial Palace's prestige? Then, Jiao Tian laughed wildly, and a supreme and overbearing aura surged out. He said coldly, "Even if the Blood Sun sect wants to destroy us, if the Divine Tiger sect and the Long family don't give them the 6-een Violent Fiend pill, can they destroy us? This time, Blue Cloud Hall doesn't want to hide anymore. Yes, if you want to kill, then kill to your heart's content. Brother Tang Wang died tragically, and no matter what, I will take revenge for my old friend." Xia Wushu said coldly. "Su-yi, why don't Big Brother take your place this time?" Merciless West walked forward, her gaze burning. Su-yi had overused his vitality twice in a row, and it was a heavy burden for Su-yi. Now that the danger was over, Su-yi didn't need to go to the Blood Sun sect. "Big Brother, let Feng Qi'er take your place." Feng Qi'er raised her head, and a pure smile appeared on her confident face. Chapter 2247. After pondering for a while, Su-yi shook his robe. Merciless West's analysis was reasonable. Then, he looked around. The core forces of the Blood Sun sect have all died tragically. Now, their combat power is probably weaker than the Nine Stars Valley. Since everyone has the heart, please lend Blue Cloud Hall a helping hand. Clean up the Chaos region. Yes, we will obey the King of Heaven's Pride's decree. Sect Leader Su, please return to the Bawang sect and wait for the good news of our triumphant return. Sect Leader Su, please return to rest. The uniform sound waves were like the roars of beasts. Countless sincere gazes looked at Su-yi. Such momentum made Jiao Tian, Xia Wushu, and the others of the Blue Cloud Palace feel inferior. Today, the Bawang sect had completely cleaned up the Chaos region. Such a meritorious deed was probably unprecedented and would never be replicated in the future. After the Heaven barbarians, the Chaos region was an extremely difficult bone to chew. It was a barbaric land that was not smaller than any other continent. It would probably have a new master. In the end, taking advantage of the night, the people of the Bawang sect and the Blue Cloud Palace rushed to the Blood Sun sect together. The night was as dark as ink. The galloping army of 10,000 people was like a wave that swept through the night, scattering all demons and monsters. Su-yi gently retracted his gaze. He stood on the peak of the mountain and looked up. In the sky, the blood energy dissipated. Stars circled around, and the clear moonlight illuminated the blue clouds and wind. This time, you really stole the limelight. Qi Feihong smiled faintly, feeling gratified. You're right. I've grasped this opportunity. Draconis can just wait to die. We're one step closer to the final bloody battle. Su Yi's lips curled up slightly, and his eyes overflowed with anticipation. Whoosh! With the sound of wind breaking, Su Yi instantly turned into a phantom and disappeared into the night. The long tail of the pitch-black space crack stretched across the sky. The ripples were hazy and illusory, and slowly dissipated. Bawang sect. Under the leadership of Nangong Ningyue, the broken mountains of the Bawang sect were cleaned up. However, no matter how broken something was, there would always be cracks when pieced together. The devastated soil and the destroyed Overlord's Square could be seen everywhere. Between the various mountain peaks, collapsed mountain gates could be seen everywhere. This was to tell everyone that the Bawang sect had many things to do and urgently needed a new look. It had been a day since Su-yi returned to the Bawang sect. That night, Su-yi rested his head on a rattan chair in front of the sect master's mountain, leisurely watching the blood clouds drifting in the sky. This was one of the few free moments Su-yi had in the Chaos realm. In the sky above the Bawang sect, whistling sounds could be heard, as if the battle had not yet ended. In the depths of the clouds, thunder roared. The lightning was like a golden dragon surging in the sea of clouds. An awe-inspiring murderous aura turned into a hurricane that hovered above the Bawang sect. At this moment, Su-yi wasn't worried about Merciless West and the others at all. The Bawang sect was now powerful. With 10,000 people and great demons, what did the Blood Sun sect have to fear? However, after the purge, there were many things that Su-yi, the sect master, had to worry about. It was easy to conquer, but difficult to defend. In the dark night, stars dotted the sky. It was very similar to the day when the 9 Stars Valley invaded the Bawang sect. Su-yi's feet lightly tapped the ground, and the rattan chair creaked and swayed. Closing his eyes, Su-yi stroked his chin. In his heart, he had already begun to plan for the Bawang sect's future. The Wind Family Village, the first stronghold of the Bawang sect, can't stay any longer. Su-yi muttered to himself in the dark night. When Merciless West returned, it would be the day when the Chaos realm was completely purged. This didn't include the core forces in the Heavenly Palace and the demon-subduing sect. The Bawang sect now had at least 10,000 cultivators who had pledged their allegiance. When that day came, the number of people who wanted to join the Bawang sect in the Chaos realm would be more than a few 100,000. It was very likely that millions of people would join. Nangong Ningyue and Huang Jian could worry about who could stay in the Bawang sect and who couldn't. However, how could the tattered Bawang sect not be able to hold so many people? Where should they go from here? Where in the Chaos realm could become the Bawang sect's new stronghold? After pledging their allegiance to the Bawang sect, they couldn't let these people scatter everywhere in the Chaos realm like a plate of loose sand. 9 Stars Valley or the Blood Sun sect? Su-yi began to weigh the pros and cons of these two places. The Blood Sun sect wouldn't consider it. Even if this place had a deep foundation, Su-yi wouldn't consider it. The 9 Stars Valley's 9 Stars Great Array was rich in spiritual energy. After the 9 Stars Valley was destroyed, it was just sitting there and could be used. In the end, Sui still shook his head. It wouldn't be good to occupy someone else's territory and use it as one's own sect. Who? Letting out a long breath, Sui opened his eyes and decided to leave this matter for after Merciless West returned. Creak. Standing up, the tall and slender Sui stood in front of the mountain peak, an unknown murderous aura surging out. Compared to the problem of a new sect, Sui needed to consider the Long family more. Now that Shangguan Tianzhuo was dead, the Long family's plan had completely failed. This time, the Chaos Realms crisis was all instigated by the Long family. On the surface, the Long family would definitely not fall out with Sui, but in the dark, Sui had undoubtedly declared war on Draconis. Suddenly, Sui smiled. At this time, Draconis was probably fuming with anger. Since they weren't going to fight openly, the Overlord sect would have some time to prepare themselves before the battle officially began. But from another point of view, even if there was time, there wasn't much time left for the Heavenly Command Palace, Demon Subduing Sect, Sacred Mountain, and Bawang Sect. I have to make use of this remaining time to raise the overall strength of the Bawang Sect. Sui licked his dry lip. This time, the Bawang Sect's crisis was a big wake-up call for him. The Green Emperor, the Yin-Yang two Nether Beast Emperors, and the Bawang Sect's forces had already grown to a considerable scale, but compared to the Long family, they were still weak. How could he raise the overall strength of the Bawang Sect to a whole new level in this period of time? How could he make these powerhouses strong enough to not fear the Long family? I have things to do during this period of time. I really need to take a look around the Chaos Realm. Sui wrinkled his nose and coldly looked at the sky. A cold, killing intent radiated from him as he spoke faintly. The Divine Tiger Sect suffered a great loss this time. Only the Sky Dragon Sect, Gemini Sect, and Immortal Sword Sect are left. After the Bawang Sect is completely stabilized, I will make you all pay the price for your stupidity. Swish. Under the cold night wind and biting cold killing intent, Sui's clothes fluttered as he walked into the sect leader's room. Before he left, Tang Wang's tombstone in front of the sect leader's mountain evoked Sui's thoughts. Elder Tang. Sui felt an inexplicable pain in his mind. He let out a long sigh, frowned, and went into the sect leader's room to rest. During this period of time, Sui had used the Devastation Heavenly Star twice in a row and activated the Divine Flame of the Emperor Sparrow. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.